Oh, hello there. Come closer out of the dark and sit around my campfire, why not? My name is of no great importance, but the stories I have to tell you are. Witness 4 lost souls journeying together through a grim world of perilous adventure. Be warned, though. These stories are not for the faint-hearted, and once you have heard them, you cannot unheard them. Bear witness to the Vagabond Chronicles. Holy shit.
It's a whole new world. Having stepped for the first time in my young 69 years out of the Lauren forest without one of the guards or family members to accompany me, the idea of freedom of choice nearly overwhelmed me as the fear of recovery from those you fled. A darkness has gripped my society, one that seems to be flourishing and will spill out and ravage the forests and glades forever, washing it in blood. Only I and my now lost twin knew the secret, and that is why I had to flee. One day, when strong enough, perhaps I will find the fortitude to confront the evil gnawing at the glen. Until then, I have become a wanderer, a vagabond. I headed to La Santal, the human dwelling dedicated to the Virgin of Carnos, to seek help and guidance. By chance, I met a merry band of fools and madmen. Fitting they took me in without so much as a second thought. Another lost soul to add to their band. Mortal men and a gnome in the grips of despair, having seen a halfling of their number fly like a raven over the cliffs. You thought them barbarians, yet they possessed something. I am familiar through the stories from the elders, warnings and cries of the savagery and vulgarity of the human world. The ridicule of the shorter ancient races, their ignorance and deceptive nature, were berated and moaned about on many an eve. Yet how the stories spoke only half a truth. These short-lived mayflies, dancing blindly through the world, were possessed of such life. The closer they seemed to destruction, the more they seemed to cheer. Despite their morality, or perhaps because of it, they seemed to suck every inch of existence from the marrow of the world. They seem more hopeful, And this, I think, may be their greatest strength. For hope, surely, is always the last thing to die.
Hola! ¿Cómo estás, mi amigos y amigas? What's up, everybody? Hi!
Okay. Hi there.
Jesus Christ, am I the only person? Am I literally the only person with any kind of enthusiasm and energy? Come on, folks!
What?
Hello.
Yeah.
Good evening.
Hi.
Oh, Jesus. Okay, here's a disclaimer. We were talking about the sadness and awfulness of Brexit before we got on this. I think we may have killed the mood somewhat. So let's...
And then you compensated by going Mexican.
I went...
Yes.
It wasn't Mexican. Well, it was a little Mexican, I guess.
It's Mexican, let's be honest.
Do you think it was overcompensating, Tom?
A little bit, but I think I appreciate the. I think we're all basically saying we very much love Europe, and therefore we're Mexicans. I mean,
Yes, you do.
I have a huge love for Spain, so apologies to everybody in Spain for that Mexican accent. All right, so hi everybody, welcome back. It's the Vagabonds weekend, and we have a new full house. We have Dr. Steve back in the house. What's up, Dr. Steve?
Hello.
Hey, Dr. Steve.
How you doing, Dr. Steve? What's going on?
I'm cool, thanks. I'm cool. Just
right.
kicking ass and saving lives. The usual.
Indeed, sir. All right. We also have Jim, and hello, Jim.
Hello.
I've changed it up again without warning you, haven't I? Anyway, fuck it.
yeah,
Who knows what's going on?
it's all right. I like it. Carry on.
Yeah, it's friendly. It's more casual this time. And hello
Yeah,
to our resident hedge wizard. Hi, Tom. What's up? What's going on, Tom?
Hi, Neil. I nearly called you Pete because I missed that guy. Hi.
I threw him off a cliff, man. That could happen to
We
anyone.
all wish you were Pete, basically.
I just want to say,
Yeah.
this is like that season. This is like season 2 shake-up when a main character just gets thrown off a cliff. By the way, because I know that you haven't watched any episode ever, Steve, you should know that his final words when he got thrown off a cliff. By the way, Pete's been thrown off a cliff. Just FYI.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I know, right? He's not here this week.
He's come back from worse, hasn't he?
He has
Can
come
I
back from
do
work.
his last words, please, Neil?
Was "fuck you, Ziggy" as he sort of disappeared into the darkness. So a lot of love there, man. A lot of love.
Was it my fault? Probably was.
Not really, but let's say yes.
No,
'cause
you
you did
just had a. Go on.
Convenient.
You
Sorry.
did say something really quite dark and cold. That's what you get for being a hero, I believe was what you said when you looked over the cliff and just whoever was looking and crying about him, you sort of... That's what you said.
Wow.
Which I think is fair.
That doesn't sound like something I would say. Maybe I was possessed
Possibly. By a committee of people trying to
by an
roleplay.
evil dungeon master.
I'm a god. I don't deal with morality in terms of black and white. Okay, so so that's happens. So welcome back. And lastly, of course, we have our new contestant. I mean, player, Blue. What's up, Blue? What's going on?
Hello! I'm great.
Cool.
I'm excited.
Digging that intro, man. Nice one.
Hi, did you like that?
I liked it a lot. It was pathosy. It was gravitasy. It was cool. I hope
I'm gonna-
None of these are words.
No, that's all.
I'm going to play back this episode just so I can hear it because apparently you go kind of Galadriel in it, and I'm quite excited about that.
Oh, okay, Tom. So that's the reason that any of you will listen back to the work that we've done over the last 7 months. Great. Okay, cool.
Hey,
Cool.
look, if people do Galadriel impressions, I'm there for it, okay?
Yeah, I might even tune in.
All right. Wow, Jesus. Okay. Holy shit, dude. Okay. Well, anyway, folks, we are.
Go first, people.
So we're gonna get.
I've just noticed something really spooky. One of the miniatures doesn't have a shadow.
We're gonna get into that in a second, but let's don't think about it too much.
Don't have a shadow.
Yeah, this may actually be a ritualistic thing that I've been doing for the last 7 months and haven't told you. Anyway, moving forwards, so we are playing Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay First Edition with a lot of funky augmented rules, and let's face it, I will break the rules if it makes a better narrative. Anybody that has joined us for the first time, there's a YouTube channel, and if our wonderful mods who we're going to say hello to in a second wouldn't mind putting a link to that, there's 17 episodes of the Vagabonds that you're most welcome. And if you subscribe, we'll do this in community news actually. Community news with your pal and possibly uncle Thomas Balderdash, Villiers Fredrickson, Wilhelmberg, DeVille.
Possibly uncle. I'm so glad. For a minute there, I thought you were going to say possibly father.
No, that was too obvious. That was way too obvious.
Possibly your dad.
Possibly your dad. He's been touring a lot. Thomas. Yeah, so that's right. That's the intro.
Does that imply that Tom's got an especially randy brother or sister?
It does. Just imply my brother is the one that's been for.
And he's been calling himself Tom just to avoid any issues.
Hey everybody, it's news time. Just a few things, not much this week. Firstly, as per usual, want to thank everyone who's doing bits of art, particularly people who've been doing awesome bits of art of our new player Dell, our new player character Dell, and we posted a few of them up today. And I just saw as well that Engelschwert has done an awesome one, and we will post that up later, but also you can see it on. So yeah, and just to remind everyone that we have our Instagram and Twitter feeds just to follow. I think both of them are at Vagabond _Cron, but I'm probably wrong about that. But yeah, if you search for us on Instagram and Twitter, you will find us. Also to remind everyone that we have awesome bits of merch on sale on Teespring. If you go to Teespring and search Vagabond Chronicles, you will find it. I also I believe everyone who's a subscriber has now got the first comic, which we're really happy to get out there. And we will be working on more in the near future. I know that Hidden, our amazing comic artist, has been asking people about what we would like to do with the comic next, so we're going to get into that soon. We also have coming up soon a new special thing that I can't really think about.
Special thing. You can really put yourself into a corner here, sir.
Tier 2 and above subscribers are going to get a special thing soon. It's an actual thing. It's not like so that's it's not like something. It'll be a thing.
Tom, I have a question. I have a question. You are essentially, because you are a fantastic writer, basically a walking thesaurus. Is there not another word you substitute for thing?
Doohickey?
Doohickey, perfect. Great. Carry on.
Thingamabob.
In light of your huge vocabulary, I can only assume you're being deliberately vague for legal reasons.
It's going to be a little bit of my hair posted out to you.
Oh my god!
I feel the police told you to stop doing that.
I feel at this point I should interject and just flip
I'm sorry.
into the table.
That was bad jokes.
All right. Let's move forward, please, sir.
Yeah, no. Basically, yes, but coming up soon for tier 2 and above. So any people who are tier 2 or tier 3. We have an exciting thing that we're going to be sending out soon. It'll be next month, and so we'll let everyone know more about it then. We're working on it right now. So yes, that's I believe it this week.
All right, let's moving on.
Yes, we're getting into the game.
Let's get into it.
Are you? How much? So you do your thing, Neil. Let people know what we're doing here.
Okay, so very quickly, folks, because we've been going this for a while. This is Warhammer Fantasy, as we explained. It is essentially kind of just like Dungeons and Dragons, using the map of our real world and putting it into theirs. But think lo-fi, low fantasy. It's gritty, it's dark. People die way quicker than they usually do, and magic is not really a big thing. In fact, in many places it's illegal. That's about all you need to know. The rest of it, I think you'll find out in the game. All right, folks, if you're ready, strap in, and let's do it. Bam. So here we are back on the board. So you're on the route from La Maison Tal, which essentially is like a day spa for rich people and religious types, having sent by Jean-Louis, a terribly accented performance, sorry about that, who sent you basically on a quest to try and find and map the area of the Frugal Valley, which you're in. Frugalhofen is the next town towards the Mount Frugal, which is right
over here in the north. I can put my camera over here, put this enormous creature over there, and that's what Mount Frugal is. That's Sadniel, our benevolent god, who is judging you all silently. Last we saw... Always. Last we saw you made camp. You've got 2 weeks of supplies. It's going to take... It's about a 2-week trip to get out there to try and search around and come back. You've been asked to do it in about a fortnight. You made camp, and 2 figures ran out of the darkness, carrying saddlebags and a whole bunch of other stuff, and just dumped them straight into the camp. And they were actually 2 dwarfs, 2 dwarf prospector trader types, who got into conversation with Bondo, of which you don't know much. However, Bondo, who speaks Casalid, knows quite a lot. The last translation I believe Bondo made of these 2 panicked pairs was that there was a bunch of wolves coming towards you. He was then immediately corrected by one of the dwarves who turned around and said, in Casalid, by the way, folks, this is what this accent's about to be.
Oh no, terribly sorry. I think you misunderstood the word chachle. It's not wolf. It means manticore. Common mistake for gnomes. I realise your accent's quite heavy, but there you go. Tot what? They both turn around and start. One of them gets out this enormous long blunderbuss. What was it called again, Jim? This normal song rifle thing?
Jezail.
A Jezail, yeah.
Yes,
and
a Jezail,
whilst the other one sort of gets this 2-handed axe and it just sort of puts out a couple of other weapons for good measure on the floor, and they sort of face the darkness, from which you all hear this awful cry of and you see coming towards you this lumbering mound that steps jaggedly and with kind of very little coordination, almost seeming like it's falling apart and reassembling, and steps into the light. It is what you've heard in only stories and legend, a manticore, which is essentially with a lion with a human-like face, enormous bat wings to the side, and a long scorpion tail. However, although nothing can really prepare you for what this thing looks like, you do notice that this thing looks also decayed. There are bones sticking out. Half of its face seems to have been eaten away by by fungus or and worms and things like that. In fact, there are insects crawling all over the body. And as it steps forward, its entire left paw of the front paw seems to be just bone and talons, and there's no skin or fur to it. This thing looks dead, and yet it's moving towards you.
It's a manticore zombie.
It's a manticore zombie. Manticore zombie. Can everybody please make your first test of the evening? It's a fear test based on your cool and crapulence. Go ahead, folks. All right. So yeah, everybody make a cool test, because this thing is fucking terrifying. This will be a short battle. Sorry.
Wow. 31. Pass.
Okay, so it's a percentile game, as we know. It's a 31 that's a pass. Blue, you can go last. I'll talk you through it. Who else has rolled?
I'm rolling right now.
All right, do it. Punch it. That is a 91. Big fail.
Oh,
big
that's
fail.
big fail.
All right. Who else? Who else is up?
I need to roll. I'm gonna roll.
All right, got
I
Steve.
rolled 76.
Cool.
6. That is a fail
That
too.
is a fail too. And Blue, if you want to come over here. So Blue, you have on your character sheet, which is posted in the Discord channel, folks. And by the way, thank you very much to the mods on this channel, but also to the mods in the Discord as well. Sorry, we skipped past that. But if you want to check out the Discord.
Is Yogo modding?
Yoga, I believe in Shannon, I think it might be here. I don't know if Hidden's on the Discord as well, but thank you to all of the mods for your constant work.
Bless you, mods.
Hey, mods.
Bless you, mods.
Love you.
Love you very much. So if you want to check out the character sheets there, folks, there is a section where the character sheets will be in. So, Blue, what is your cool, which is CL on your character sheet?
69.
60 again?
It is 69.
Are you trying to send subliminal messages
no,
to the chat?
It
What
was
is
59
going on?
and then we advanced it, so it's 69.
Oh, I see. Okay. See, I see. That's convenient. Right, 69.
That's pretty high
That's
cool.
pretty high cool. So 69 out of 100 means that as cool, basically, folks, if you don't know, is how you keep your metal. So you're face to face with a ghost, or in this case, manticore zombie. It's whether or not you basically cack your pants and run screaming into the hills, or whether you can hold your metal and face it like a true hero, or in our case, a true bunch of raggedy vagabonds. So 69 is very high. It's out of 100. There are positives and negative bonuses and modifiers that we can add on to depending on the situation, but in this case it's just a straight roll. So far one has passed, Bondo's passed, and Jim and Tom have both failed. We'll get to that in a minute. So Blue, if you want to take these 2 dice, this one is a unit dice. If you can come over here. Excuse me, folks. Blue, you seen these dice, by the way? Yeah, over here. So This one's tens. This one is a unit. So if you want to roll them together by selecting both and pressing R on your keyboard, that will roll them like thus. That is a critical failure that I just rolled. Blue did not, so that's cool. So yes, if you want to hit these and roll. Is that you doing that?
That's me.
Cool. 20.
Yeah, you pass.
Great. Okay, so now let's talk about the narrative of why it actually happens. This thing lumbers out of the shadows, as I just said, into this awful, desperate roar. Both Tom and
Ratty and Ziggy.
Both Ratty and Ziggy. This thing, you actually get hit by the scent of it. This fetid smell actually sort of blasts forward over the camp. Like even the actual fire itself is sent. Billowing in this stench. It's truly monstrous. And actually, Ratty, you sort of have flashbacks to when you once like woke up covered in maggots because you slept near what you thought was a live possum, but actually turned out to be a dead one. And you ended up waking up with loads of maggots everywhere. It just freaked you out. So you just have a memory of that. You are essentially you can't go near it. You'll have to make a cool test every round. You can't attack it directly. However, you can defend yourself if it gets too close. Ziggy, I'm not sure how you're going to spin this one, man, because you're supposed to be the fucking hero, dude.
It just reminds me of a drill sergeant I had.
Old Manty.
He had very bad breath, and I'm transported back to a particularly ignominious
dressing
set of push-ups
down.
you only do in the rain.
Right.
Yeah.
Whilst he urinated on you, question mark, asking for a friend? Okay, I don't know. Okay, so, okay, cool.
That got real
extra
dark real
for that.
quick. Yeah.
So I was in the army for a little short period of time.
Sigma, save us.
Sigma, save us. Sigma, save you. As you start backing off. All right, so you two are basically in fear. One of the dwarf over here with the big axe actually also sort of steps back level with you, Ziggy, and looks at you and goes, "Oh, it looks a lot more together in the shadows," and starts shaking a little bit. Whereas this guy with the Jezebel actually steps forward a little bit and starts aiming. Okay, we're in combat round, folkies. This thing is a manticore, so I don't know if none of you know what a manticore is. Obviously, what the players know, what the characters know, are two different things. We're going to go initiative order, which I believe will be Del, Ziggy, and then the manticore, and then everybody else, including your second attacks, folks. So, because obviously some people have more than one attack. So first up, it's Del. So Del, what's up? What's going on?
I don't know what this is.
You don't know what this is. You've never even heard of something like this. This is truly a beast of some kind of twisted, demonic chaos, awfulness, undead thing. You've heard of undead. And then, unlike humans, you're less likely to dismiss such thing as legend and fancy, because the elves obviously are a lot more knowledgeable. They've been around much longer and they know most things. But you couldn't identify this thing. However, all you need to know is this is highly aggressive, and it's also an affront against life itself. So that's enough for you, really. This thing is monstrous, yeah. But you've never heard of it.
Yeah, can I use my bow?
Yeah, you can do whatever you want. So you can.
I would like to use my bow and strike at it.
Cool.
Yes.
You are standing over the campfire. However, that won't. You're standing next to the campfire. Sorry. However, that's not going to impede you in any way. But just FYI, you're sort of right next to it here.
Flame arrows.
Ooh.
Can I? Yeah, exactly what I was thinking. Can I light my arrow on fire at the tip?
You can.
Yes, she can. Yes, she can.
You can. However, to avoid having a penalty of 1 round, you're going to make a dex check to quickly wrap something around it to set it on fire, because it is made of like steel, right? It's not like it's flammable steel exists. So make a dex check, otherwise it's going to take you a round of fiddling. So you have to shoot next round.
I rolled a 2 again.
You rolled a 2 again? You rolled a 2?
It's a 20.
That's a 20, I was going to say. Yeah.
20.
So you rolled a 20.
But it's still good.
It's still really good, yeah.
What's
cool.
your dex? What's your dex?
My dex is 40.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
that
you're
passes
good
it.
then.
Cool. So you wrap it round, you set it on fire. Everybody, by the way, including the people on fear, sort of a slightly, even the ones in front of you, are slightly looking in their periphery vision at what you're doing. Just FYI. Okay, there's no reason why I should mention that.
I do this fast too. My speed is pretty fast.
The blur of the motion of you stepping forward, wrapping something around, and taking aim catches everybody's attention.
Slightly worried that we have a competent character with us.
Don't worry, I'm going to be throwing dragons at you soon. It'll be fine. I'll balance it out. It's cool. All right, so you can now take aim. You can either take aim for a round, which adds +10 per round of aiming to your ballistic skill, or you can shoot straight away, and you can shoot an arrow around. So bows are pretty great in in competent hands, they're pretty devastating.
We are keeping track of ammo, right?
I would, yeah. I know it's a bit pedantic, folks, but because this is low fantasy, it actually is quite helpful when you have to then start using resources other than just fire another arrow. It becomes a bit repetitive otherwise. So yes, we are tracking ingredients, we are tracking magic points and arrows and all the rest of it. Yeah, yes, please.
Well, I'm going to say that, I'm quite decisive and almost like impulsive, and I just, exactly as you described, I just quickly move forward, wrap it, light it on fire, and I just shoot.
Cool. Okay, so you're going to roll your 2 dice. These 2 dice over here is fine. I'll move them to the center so we can see them. Dun, 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 dun. I just want you to roll them, and you've got to get under your ballistic skill. 42. What's your ballistic skill?
47.
Perfect. Okay.
Yeah.
So now that's the arrow flies off and thunks itself quite nicely into, I guess, the sort of wing of the creature. You're now going to roll a d6 over here, and if you get a 6, you can roll the d6 again because that's a critical hit.
So this is the 6. This is for damage.
Wow. Okay, that's a 6. Nice. Okay, roll it again and make a mental note of how much we were doing. So roll it one more time. That's a 1. Okay, so that's 7 points of damage. The bow itself has, everybody has strength. Weapons have strength too. So the bow has an effective strength of 3. So that's 7 plus the 3, which is 10. Then I minus the toughness of the creature, and that's how many wounds you do to it, which is pretty nifty.
And add something for being on fire.
Oh yeah, that's fine. Actually,
Does it take prolonged damage? I mean,
No.
I would think. Okay, can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Is this thing I guess wet? Is it recently risen from a grave, or is it rotting to the point where it's dry and
It's definitely rotted
crispy?
for quite some time. So I'm definitely going to give you an extra D3 damage for the flaming arrow. And right, so I'm going to get you D3, which is this white one here. So
it is crispy
roll the
now.
roll the D3.
How'd
1.
you like
Okay,
your manticore?
All right. All right. So you thunk this thing straight through its wing. It's a great shot, and the wing itself, which is essentially kind of like parchment at this point, the whole thing just catches fire and goes into a blaze. And the weird thing is though, this wing pretty much just flops off the down. It's just flopping down by its side. However, the beast doesn't even seem to react. It keeps plodding forward at the same pace. Its tail is on a sort of nice swishing. And it's starting to pick up a little bit of pace, in fact. You definitely did a lot of damage to it, but it's still coming for all of you. Okay, that's your round. That's your go. So, Ziggy, you're up next, sir. You can make a cool test to be the cool guy. To not be, and by the way, you all saw, including the dwarf, including Bondo, who just sensed something cool, because the arrow went right by his head. You all turn around and just look at Dale like, wow. That was amazing. Yeah. In fact, Ziggy,
I died a little bit inside.
You died a little bit inside. Yeah.
I feel that we should get pluses to our cool because we just saw the elf.
You're inspired.
10.
Tom,
I was inspired by your greatness. I got a 10.
Tom, you're absolutely right, and I'll give you +1 to your roll. Okay. So cool, Ziggy. Okay. So Ziggy, you are out of. You sort of having seen somebody do something incredibly uber cool. I'm dying a little bit inside. You sort of the part that died of you was the scared part. The drill sergeant memory is just obliterated, and you come back to your senses. What do you want to do, sir?
I'm sort of more shamed into action.
Yeah, shamed into action.
Ziggy's got a speed of 5, so when he gets going in the wrong direction, he's like, Jesus Christ, run away! And he really gets up some speed, and then he goes past Dell and sees this sort of slow motion Robin Hood Prince Thieves style arrow flying through the air perfectly. And I sort of stop and say, Can I charge back towards the manticore?
You can totally do that.
Yeah, is that a bridge too far?
No, you can charge back. What's your movement? Is it 5?
It's 5. So
5, you'll reach it. 5, you'll reach it. It's pretty close. It's closer than it appears in the rearview mirror. So yeah, it's more like here actually. And this dude's back here.
Okay. Can I roll to attack it if I sort of charge?
You can charge, which is +10 to your weapon skill, indeed, sir. What is your weapon skill?
10 is my steel, you abomination.
Look, guys, look what I'm doing! I'm doing something cool! Look at me, look at me!
I can't watch the dice I'm going to roll.
I'm cooler than her!
That's 100, that's a critical failure! That is the worst roll you could possibly do in the game!
No.
Oh my god!
I'm tired.
That's a critical failure! Literally the worst roll! Oh my god!
I was shamed into inactivity.
Okay. So
no, look at
let me just
hey,
describe what happens. Sorry.
Oh, Ziggy.
I promise everybody at home, this is not scripted. We don't script this. This is completely as it comes, folks. You cannot possibly script this. So, okay, cool. So basically what happens, everybody watches Dale do this amazing shot. It hits, it burns the wing off, it flaps past. Then Ziggy, shamed into action, runs past everybody and leaps over like it's going to leap on its back and just goes straight through the middle of the manticore into its body.
And just runs into it.
Yeah, he just basically he leaps and jumps like this, and then just lands like he's going to do like one of those. He's basically going to do that cool thing out of Troy when Brad Pitt does that awesome jump stab movement. Do you know that thing?
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? You try and do that, but actually you mistime it, and you get your leg gets caught up. You pinwheel into its body. And sort of now you're caged in its body. Please take D3 damage for being splinters of bones and horribleness smacking you around. There's no toughness modifier, so it's straight D3. Okay, folks, so critical failures are really bad things. When things go wrong, they go really, really, really wrong, including damage and all that kind of stuff can happen.
Do you want me to roll it, or are you going to roll it?
You can roll it, sir. No, go ahead. Torturous, I know.
Choose my fate.
Choose your
I've
fate.
rolled all of them.
3, okay.
3. I was just going to ask, how many wounds am I on? Am I full wounds?
You're on your full wounds, yeah. Full wounds, because you rested up.
Okay, fine. 3.
Cool.
You're
now inside the body of a decayed zombie manticore, like around its chest cavity.
It's on fire.
Which is slightly on fire, yeah. So you see, you'll see Ziggy jump into this thing, going.
I promised Pete I'd do something worthy of Teddy this evening.
Yeah, there you go. That's it. You might have a fate point.
So glad we're back to being crap again.
That was a dangerous deviation from the norm there. We've reverted to the mean.
You just hear this goes for Sigma, and he ends up doing this thing, and then you hear this. Oh my god!
It's like, taste my steel, you abominable! It burns!
Again, and by the way, can you make a toughness test? Because this thing then just belches through you.
Don't make me roll more dice.
Yeah, do a toughness test, then you're not going to get away with it. That was a critical failure, the worst critical failure you can roll. This thing belches.
Yeah.
It smells like skunk ass, but you managed to hold your last meal in. The cheese you were eating on earlier, probably, fortified you against this. Okay, that was amazing. Thank you so much, Dr. Steve. Welcome back. All right.
Welcome.
Okay, next up is Ratty. You can make a cool test, please.
Yes.
Don't
so
succeed.
good.
It is a trap.
That's so good.
Yeah, don't roll dice, I go wrong.
Beautiful. Beautiful, people. Your God is pleased. 19, great. So you snap
19,
out as well. So Ziggy's incredible moment.
Basically, because I burst out laughing. Yeah. That shit is fucking hilarious.
You completely forget about the undead manticore being an undead manticore.
It's hard to be scared of something when...
Amazing.
If everyone else should automatically pass their cool test as they see you flailing around inside the ribcage.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened. Everybody has now passed their cool test because of you.
It burns. I do not like it.
It burns and it stinks so bad.
The smell. Oh no, the methane. Yeah, it's actually flaming methane. I got no idea. So the other 3 points of damage you got is because when it burped and the fire actually created like a mini fireball in its tummy, and it was sort of just singed and burned inside it. You're being cooked basically like in a manticore oven.
Beavis and Buttheaded to.
Yeah, you're basically that. So that's what happened.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
All right, so Ratty, you've sort of come to your senses in the most hysterical fashion possibly, which is awesome. So on brand. What are you going to do, sir? So what's up?
So this is what I'm going to do. So firstly, I feel that I should point out. Well, this is something that we were going to get around to at some point.
Yeah.
We've sort of skipped over it, but you forgot to give us XP for the whole werewolf.
Totally
adventure.
fucking did. Completely forgot.
And so we are actually basically kind of able to power up. Because are you going to give us some XP, right?
Yeah, I'm going to give you. It's actually 300 XP I should have given you. So that's essentially 3 advances or a skill if you were learning a skill kind of thing.
So
or whatever.
My guy is all right. Ratty is about to power up in an interesting way.
Okay, this is cool. All right.
So, basically, what I'm going to do is I'm going to run towards the manticore.
Yeah.
And as I run...
By the way, I just got to interrupt you for a second. Sorry. Have anybody noticed that my kid and I do drawings every week before we do this, and it goes out for the advertisement, and almost every week we fucking nail exactly something that's about to happen?
Yeah,
Is that weird? Is that weird? Because I literally, this week was a drawing of Dale doing something fucking cool, and Ziggy being like pissed off at it and like throwing his weapons down. I'm not kidding.
I mean, it would have been really weird if you guessed that Ziggy would end up jumping into the monster.
Our Jedi, myself and my kids' Jedi powers are only so strong. Like we're like Jedi Knights right now, not Masters, I guess. But it's getting there, right?
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Sorry about that.
This would be why you named your daughter Nostradamus, right?
Yes, Nostradamus.
Yeah. There you go.
That's her name.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So sorry, Tom. Sorry. Carry
on. So I'm gonna run towards the Manticore. And as I run, Ratty scoops up a handful of pebbles off the ground.
Ooh, liking this.
I take it this is pebbly ground.
This is very pebbly. Yeah, it's like it's easy to find pebbles in the ground.
Yeah. And I throw them at the monster. And at the moment, like little bits of lightning sort of shoot from the ferret. You know, both the ferrets are on my shoulders, and they kind of get little manga kind of lightning in their eyes.
Do they slightly float like a half an inch above you, like the equivalent of their couple of feet?
Yeah.
Above there, and they start like the whole fur just spikes up and goes electric.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'm with you, man.
Yeah. And Ratty goes, "Eat this, you bastard!" And he throws the handful of pebbles, and they turn as they fly. They turn into huge, like big stones. Like
wow,
big.
That's a fucking great spell. Is this stone? Is this Stone of Earth or something from the Elemental School?
It's Elemental School. Yeah. It is called Assault of Stones.
Oh, I know this one very well. It's very good. Nice one, dude. All right. So anybody doesn't realise, Tom is a hedge wizard. He's unlicensed and not. He's trained by instinct. He sort of feels out spells, which means he gets some bonuses and some hidden negatives as well, which we'll get to at some point, I guess. But the bonus is that he can draw spells from any school of magic, which is pretty cool. But he finds them almost by accident, instinctively in the moment. Sorry, Tom, carry on.
And he could be burnt at the stake.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, that's the downside, but let's not focus on that.
Let's not dwell on such things, Jim. Okay.
Sounds like a conversation about Brexit.
You're putting ideas in my head now.
I should explain that basically, I didn't know that this was going to happen. Like, just like this kind of
feeling.
It's just almost like a kind of feeling, like the Force. Yeah. Except Lucasfilm will just sue the shit out of us. But something just tells me, Tal whispers in my ear that this might work if I try this.
Okay, cool. I'm digging it.
And that's what happens. I should point out that to achieve this, basically, I've used my XP I've become finally, I'm now a level 1 hedge wizard. Before this, I was
hey, all right, congrats. You're leveling up on the fly, sir. Very nice.
This is a level 1 spell. I wasn't... All the magic I've had before...
It's petty stuff. Right?
It's been petty spells, which are kind of basically apprentice level. So I've kind of... I've just sort of Super Saiyaned up into a level 1 user. Mainly because... A, the Manticore is scary. B, Ziggy is stuck in the Manticore. C, because if Del's going to
stone me.
Yeah, that's a good point, actually.
Well, yeah, this is a risk.
Yeah. So
it's a risk you're prepared to take.
Again and again and again until we get it right. All right. So Tom, one thing, Tom. Tal actually, when he whispered in your ear to give you this, said the words that actually come out of your mouth are, "Hey, lad, you're stoned." As you fly that, if that's okay, if I just because we're going to trademark these spells, then we're going to something on a t-shirt. Do you know what I mean? T-shirt worthy.
We're going to get stoned.
Get stoned. You're stoned. No, it's your stone.
Yeah.
If that's okay, if I don't mind.
I'm going to workshop that one on a little.
Workshop with your people. Get the writers' room together, Tom. Work it around the room.
Okay.
Come back to me and I'll tell you whether I like it or not.
Yeah, definitely.
All right.
Anyway, the point is that suddenly. This small handful of pebbles turns into a burst of big spells, big stones, which automatically hit a target
Oh, really? Wow.
Causing D6 wounds at strength 4.
D6 wounds at strength 4. Okay. So
Yeah.
do you want to roll a D6, buddy? And then I'm going to throw you a curveball.
Yeah, there is possibly a curveball. I just... Alright, so I'm rolling D6.
4. So 4 hits. Okay, I want you to roll a D100. Actually, no, it's too much. Let's do it easier. Roll a D6. If you get a 6, that's going to hit Ziggy.
Okay.
Yep, because I think that's kind of fair. He's in the middle of this fucking thing, for Christ's sake.
Yeah.
Okay, hit it. That's a 1 hit on Ziggy. Roll it again. Roll it again, please. We don't make this up. Swear to God, folks, this is unscripted. And again, Tom.
Sigma, why do you hate me?
Again, Tom, please. Come on, Tommy.
Do I have to roll the...
You're going to keep rolling for each
roll
hit.
damage.
If you, no, this is not damage. This is to see the chance of it hitting him, because automatic hits, you said, right? So each time you roll a 6, it hits Steve and not the Manticore. Like, it doesn't do much damage.
How many stones are we doing here?
4. So you need 3 more rolls of this D6, please. You've already got...
Right.
So Steve, remember 1 hit so far. Okay, that's cool. Next one.
Hang on.
Look at you tentatively rolling this thing. Roll it properly, man. Okay, so that's 2 hits on the Manticore, 1 on Steve.
I got to choose it every time. Right, there we go. So
okay.
it's just 1 hit.
Just 1 hit on Steve. Okay, so now you can roll your damage. Should we do Steve first out of politeness? Should we do Ziggy first?
I feel we should. Yeah.
All right.
It's only polite when you're stoning.
Come on.
Okay, so how much damage does each done? That's a 6.
Oh, weak sauce.
What's the effective strength of an assault on stone?
4, wasn't it?
4.
So that's
Oh my
10.
God, it's like a crossbow bolt.
That's really good. Okay,
so that's
I'm
10.
I'm gonna kill my
You're
buddy.
gonna kill your buddy. So 10 minus your toughness is what now? Sorry.
Where does it hit me? Somewhere where I've got armor?
You can take.
Can
if
I
you've
use
got
my
You
shield?
can totally use your shield, and any armor that you've got on your body will count. I'm a fair god.
It's, okay, all right. So I've got 1 point of armor, 1 point of shield. So that's 5 wounds. It does to me.
It does 5 wounds. You're on a -1, aren't you, sir?
-1.
You're gonna have to roll the critical
-1.
table, buddy. I'm sorry about that. Hungry Neil is hungry for fate points.
They haven't really
sorry.
built a critical roll table for being trapped inside a burning undead manticore while being stoned by your friend. Have
Don't worry. I'm gonna roll with it, man. 77. Okay,
they?
interesting.
77. Lucky me.
Lucky 77. All right, I'm gonna go with. Tell you, whilst I'm finding out exactly what happens to you, why don't you go ahead and roll the other damage there, buddy? Tom, Ratty can roll the other damage.
3 more strength for hits.
Yeah.
Can you imagine? It was like several of them. Fucking hell. New character. Sorry.
You know what? We are doing this slightly wrong. It doesn't actually work. I'm just checking the spell.
All right. What is it?
It is just 1 hit.
Oh fuck! In which
You
case,
base-
that's gonna hit Ziggy then, not the Manticore. That's gonna do a little bit of damage to the Manticore, but not that much.
Hang
It's
on,
gonna
let me
mainly
double
hit
check.
Ziggy.
And just
Surely it has to do
read.
some
You said
damage.
D4 hits, buddy. D4 hits, right?
He said
No,
D6
The
strength 4
Manticore's
hits.
on the outside, Steve's on the inside, so, you know.
Yeah, I think you're right the first time, Tom. It's 4 hits of strength.
Hang on, I'm
Something.
just calling up the. I'm just checking. No. A character using the spell causes an assault of stones to burst upon any individual. This is magic missile attack causing damage like missile weapons. Target restrictions apply. Assault of wound stones automatically hits its target, causing D6 wounds at strength 4.
Okay.
If cast at a group, it will hit 2d6 individuals.
They're not individual. He's inside his stomach. So I'm gonna say it's gonna hit both. Okay, so it's gonna hit the Manticore and it's gonna hit Ziggy the same strength.
Doesn't that imply you do multiple? Because if it says hits at strength 4, doesn't that imply?
No.
That imply that we did it the right way around? Isn't that what it says?
I'm gonna
'Cause you always
overrule.
roll.
I'm gonna overrule everybody and just say
Roll.
it's targeting one creature. You happen to be inside its tummy. It's going to hit both of you for this. I'm going to give you an extra. I'm going to give you on 0 wounds, not -1, because the body buffers a wound. There you go, an extra point of armor.
I was going to say the other thing is, in all seriousness, I haven't taken my advance, and I was going to take an extra wound, so I'd actually be on 1 more wound.
I'm going to let you take the advance after this because it's funnier.
I'm happy to be part of your narrative.
You're on you're on 1 wound, sir. 1 wound, sir. Okay.
1 wound.
And the Manticore has taken. Remind me how much damage? 10 wounds, was it?
Yes.
Okay, so this thing, so your Assault of Stones, which is truly fucking epic and awesome, hits this Manticore, she's just and like kind of rat-a-tats it. Inside you hear this, Vi! Like that. And Ziggy starts screaming. Faithful servant. But you do, like, this thing is now starting to break out. In fact, Ziggy, FYI, you could probably kick your way out of this thing now. Because a lot of its chest cavity just collapsed outwards. Your feet are like basically on the floor, like the Flintstones. You know, like the Flintstones pick up their car and move it with their feet. You're now that. You can now put your both feet out on the floor, and you could try and move this Manticore if you want.
That's so disgusting.
It's pretty weird, isn't it?
Look, I'm a puppet.
All right, Ratty.
I'm wearing a Manticore.
I'm wearing a Manticore outfit, aren't I cool? Okay, so that's your go. The Manticore now has its goes. So the first thing it's going to do is its tail just sort of like shakes, and you can see it above you. You can see through the patchwork of skin and like muscle that's left on the body and through the ribs. It just shakes and just stabs straight down at you, Steve. So you're going to have to. I don't even know if initiative is applicable, but I might make you allow. Do you have dodge blow?
I do.
I'm gonna let you do a dodge blow, minus let's say minus what is your initiative? Let's be fair. I'm gonna say minus 10 to your initiative because you're inside its body cavity with your legs now stuck out. So you can dodge this blow if you want. 28, nice. Okay, so this spike, this sort of like scorpion tail slams straight down through its own body, through like a big gap, and misses you, and gets sort of tangled and whips itself out. But you can still see that there's venom very much on this enormous scorpion-like spike. But you managed to Indiana Jones it and just sort of shift to the sides. It just smashes past you. It's also now like sort of down. I'm going to give it an extra wound of damage because it actually damaged itself a little bit by doing that attack. Cool. Okay. So its other attack, it's then sort of as it's doing that, it also leaps forward, and Bondo, it's going to sort of have a little bite at you with its enormous hidden maw. So it is now hitting. Yeah, it hits you. And it does. That's going to hit you, sir, for a paltry 5 points of damage.
Righty-ho. Okay, my toughness is 4, and I have a helmet on, so hopefully it's not gone for my head.
It's hit your 93.
Hopefully it has.
It's your leg, actually, so your left leg it's hit.
So it's done me 1 point of damage.
Yeah, 1 point of damage to you. So it sort of just bites and just grazes you, but your armor and your sort of toughness sort of knock it off. Doesn't really, just grazes you a little bit. Okay, that's its go gone. It is now Ziggy, your second attack, sir.
Can I swing a sword from in here?
You can probably do some damage with it. You don't forget your spider sword is pretty fucking big.
I just sort of thrash around.
You can thrash around like a petulant tantrum.
It's kind of like Monster Hunter, except you're actually in the monster. But you can.
I'm going to do like
instead of riding the monster, you're
Drax the Destroyer at the beginning of Guardians of the Galaxy 2.
You can do that.
Alright, yeah, cool.
Stabby. Alright, so I'm going to give you a -1 damage because you can't really swing your sword around.
I laugh in the face of your -1 damage.
And you got 1.
I got 1. So I've got 4, 5, 6 is my effective strength. So that's 6 damage. 6 damage.
Okay, so you smash around, you sort of like a bone here and there gets loose, a bit of gristle from like rotting meat falls on your face. You sort of do a little bit of damage, but you're not really doing that much, I guess. But every little bit helps, right? So when you're stuck inside the burning body of an undead Manticore. Next up is Blue's second attack. Now, Blue, here's the interesting thing: you can't do 2 ranged attacks in a go. It's only 1 ranged attack per go. You can take an action, I'll say, because that's sort of fair to represent your second attack. So you can move.
He's still in there?
Yeah. I like the fact that with the fire next to you. Go ahead. Yeah, you see 2 little legs like pop out and start doing like a Flintstones-esque like little rapid movement in the air, trying to find their grounding. And then you see this enormous spike sort of like smash through where the legs kind of were and just miss them and then get pulled back out of the body. He's definitely.
Can I try grabbing him and pulling him out?
What's your movement?
5.
You can reach the Manticore and you can start the process, but you won't be able to pull him out until next round if you wanted to.
I would like to do that. Yeah.
Okay.
I would like to try and pull him out.
I would suggest slinging your bow.
The sensible
The
choice.
Yeah. Slinging. Well, you actually didn't need
As
to
opposed
sling
to
it,
just
actually.
throwing some stones at the manticore.
Can we also tell if is he still like moving like he like
You
no
can
problem,
call out
or
to him.
does he seem...
You can talking is a free action. You can do that at any point.
I'm just wondering if I can tell that if the manticore is like bloodied or
It's more like broken. It's super broken. Like it's falling apart, literally. As it's every step is like more bits of bone and flesh that start dropping off it. The thing is literally crumbling in front of you, kind of thing.
Okay. Yeah, I rush forward as fast as I can, and make the move to grab his legs.
Okay. Cool. Okay, so you rush forward and you manage to get his legs. Okay, Ziggy, you can't see what's happening, but something grabs your legs really viciously, and is now yanking your legs.
Don't pull me! I'm doing some damage in here.
Like some unholy midwife.
Alright. So Jim and the dwarves. So one dwarf is going to take his cool test. There's a kind of like point really, but fuck it, let's just keep it all going. So the dwarf is also laughing incredibly loudly at Ziggy's misfortune, and each time something worse happens, he just carries on laughing like when the assault of stones, and he's clearly not in fear anymore. This dude with the Jezebel is still sort of aiming and loading and fiddling around with it, and has taken a couple of steps back and still hasn't taken a shot. Bondo, it's your go though, sir. What are you going to do?
Right.
Can you make a roll to avoid laughter, actually?
Roll to avoid laughter.
You're just making up debilitating
Absolutely
rolls
not.
for us
Absolutely
now.
not. That's an entirely true roll. 62. You fail. You are bursting into hysterical laughter. It won't affect your combat prowess, but you cannot stop laughing.
Fair enough.
It might not affect you, but it wounds me deeply.
Yeah, I might get you to make a cool test after this, Steve. Just to make an insanity point. All right. So
Hide in shame.
actually, you got a critical hit, didn't you?
I was what?
Did you get a critical hit? Am I making that up?
Well, Tom rolled a 6, but it wasn't a critical.
Did he roll a 6 on his damage?
I did,
No,
yeah. So
I should have made. You know what, Tom? You got lucky. I should have made you roll another d6, sir.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
I don't think magic missiles work like that. I didn't think.
I
They
don't know if they do get criticals or
I don't
not.
know.
Let's just say they don't, but I'm going to give you an insanity point for everything that's just happened to you. So please, actually, that's not fair. That's not fair. Make a cool
No,
test.
it's fair. No, it's entirely fair. I've been trapped in
No,
the
but
belly
you
of a
get to have a cool saving throw. So make a cool test to see if you get an insanity point. Otherwise, take an insanity point.
Ooh.
So the most
What was
uncool guy in the party takes a cool test.
Yeah, right.
So this is my am I wearing shades at night test.
Exactly. Yeah. 21. Okay, you
Oh,
don't.
I am wearing shades at night.
Wearing shades
Excellent.
at night. You're too cool to get insanity and craziness over this. All right. Sorry, Bondo. Karen, what do you want to do, sir?
Right, I am not happy about this situation, very much so, and very much in the style of the party. I'm going to take one of my advancements. Can you roll to see, if you look at WhatsApp, roll to see whether I can?
Oh my god, are you taking the skill I think you're taking?
Yeah.
Oh god, I really want you to do this right now. That would be epic. That would be perfect. Please, I tell you what, I'll allow this if you promise me you'll take the action.
About this because you're going to kill. He's going to kill Steve.
I'm ignoring the question and deferring to my gentleman from this. But okay, so Jim, if I do this, you've got to promise me that you're going to carry the action through. Don't like.
Absolutely.
Don't let me down on this one, man. Don't.
And
build it up
and Ziggy's been coaching Bondo on how to do strike mighty blow as well. So
Can I just say that every week before an episode, Neil always gleefully tells us all, "Ha ha ha! I'm going to kill you all this week," and what he never probably foresaw is that we're actually going to kill ourselves.
Yeah, we got that first.
That's the big twist in all this.
It's amazing.
We're going to kill ourselves. The Manticore doing nothing. It's like ticking us. We are going to screw this up so badly.
It's like got a Zimmer frame. It's so ineffectual right now. It's doing fuck all.
Yeah, we never even tried to parlay with the Manticore.
Yeah,
I
could have worked.
A cup of sugar or something.
Something like that. And Tom, I've got to say, you don't disappoint, sir. You don't disappoint. So yes, for Bondo, which skill was it that you were trying to learn? Because you've learned it.
Strike mighty blow.
Indeed, sir. So you're going to strike this thing now. You are going to
put some elbow grease into it.
Put some elbow grease into it. Okay, so there is a slight risk because Steve's in there too, but you can absolutely go ahead with it. So roll your weapon skills, sir.
Right. Roll.
63.
63.
Is that a fail?
My weapon skill is 52. Oh god, I can't even make it with luck.
No, you
Bollocks.
can't. And now I'm afraid you're going to have to make a risk test to see whether or not you slice through Steve. So I'm going to say it's a 50-50% chance, a 50% chance that you actually hit Steve, because he's right in the middle of this damn thing. 38. Okay, so that is Ziggy. Okay, you don't hit Steve. Okay, that's a good. So you slice through. In fact, Steve, what happens is you sort of like shift away from the spike. Other things happen. You turn your face, and then suddenly, like this axe just drops into the top of the body. It doesn't do much damage, but comes within like half an inch of your nose, and then just gets pulled out again. And you just, sorry, lad, as it gets pulled out, yanked out of the lenticle.
That image would make a cool panel in a comic book. Just saying.
That's actually very good. Yeah, we can do that. Tom, yeah, that's all good.
Probably in about 10 years' time.
About 10 years' time.
But,
all right.
yeah.
Oh,
cool. All right, so Jim, you now have that skill strike mighty blow to put the welly in, sir. At this point, the dwarf with the gun has now aimed and goes, oh, hang on in, terribly sorry, hang on in there, I'll get your friend out in a jiffy. Just aims and blasts. That is a critical success. Double damage.
oh, splendid shot,
Barely,
sir.
yeah. So basically, this shot literally goes inside the manticore, starts ricocheting around inside its chest cavity, literally missing Ziggy at every possible. What do you call it when something a ricochet? And then just pops straight through its face and explodes its head, or what's left of it. The manticore just stands there like a statue, and then just goes. And bits of it just start falling off and just leave Ziggy sitting on his ass on what looks like a flatbed of bones and rotten meat. And this thing is very dead, sir.
I'm jumping to my feet and saying, I slayed it! Did you see? I slayed it!
All right, nice.
My axe is stuck on the floor, so I'm looking at that at the moment.
All right, cool. Very
Matty,
nice.
what are you looking at?
So what was that, sorry?
I was just saying, I was staring at my axe. It was stuck on the floor, so and I'm wondering what Ratty was looking at. Probably a squirrel or something.
Oh yeah, okay. So, yeah.
What am I looking at?
I don't know, dude.
I am mostly focused on the fact that the spectacle that we've just witnessed is Dell trying to pull Ziggy out while you just swung an axe.
Oh, that's right. Dell's underneath it. I completely forgot. Okay, so actually, Dell, this whole thing collapses on top of you, and Ziggy's now sitting on top of that on top of you, and you're just like, you're not damaged, but you're definitely trapped underneath this thing. You're pretty sure that Ziggy's sitting on top of your like shoulders or something.
This would be such a good issue in the comics. I've got to say, this one fight is full of fantastic moments.
All right. What are you going to do?
I'm looking at so I'm basically that whole scene. So I guess I'll move forward and we try and Bondo, little help here. And just try and heave.
All right, lad, I'll come in.
Dell having so gracefully started this fight is gonna end it with two of us just kind of dragging her from under this body, whilst Ziggy is also trying to extricate it from himself from its ribs.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. The two dwarves step forward, and one of them goes, "Oh, terribly good shot, Rod. That was a fantastic one. I like the way he just buzzed around the human fellow, made him shout his pants, one Rod." That's what all you hear is like, oh, that kind of Kazalid shit, right? But Bondo, obviously, you hear exactly what they said.
Yes, Bondo is in tears of laughter and is not translating.
He's still laughing.
I probably do know the Kazalid word for shit.
You do, yeah. But you've learned it as the shit as opposed to just shit.
Yes, so I think he's saying that I am the shit.
Yes. Du bist eine Scheiße.
Der Scheiße.
Der Scheiße. All right, so cool. Okay, so the dwarves sort of you sort of look around, and you pull Dell, who looks particularly stunned and slightly upset about what just happened.
Put out.
You
I'm
put
very
out.
put out.
Yeah. The dwarves look
Lovely pouty.
Yeah, the dwarves look
Ziggy's going to make a fool of himself trying to help Del to her feet when she clearly needs no help at all.
Oh yeah, literally, as she's standing up, you go to help her.
Allow me, my fave Fräulein friend, or something. And he looks incredibly pleased with himself for the alliteration.
Nice.
But, yeah.
So anybody else want to add anything before the sort of dwarves are going to start like jumping into the narrative? But anybody else, is it Ratty or anything?
Sorry, no. Why do you keep on singling me out?
No reason, just stoking the fandom about your characters. All right, so okay, the dwarf stepped forward, and he goes, "Oh there, well met. Do you mind us making camp with you?" It seems like ridiculous to ask that question now, but I guess they're a bit backwards sometimes. There are wolves
Thank you. Yes, thank you for leading that bloody bastard right to our doorstep. Nicely done there, my little lads.
Well, the
little hairy boys.
The other dwarf. Oh, that's right. You always think they're small children, even with beards. They have beards too. All right. So, the dwarf, the older dwarf, who's packing his away, his rifle away, goes, "Well, we saw your fire and thought it was best to stick numbers, especially when this thing attacked us out of nowhere. Grimbold Stonehand." This is the older of the two. He holds out a heavily calloused hand to you.
Can we have that name again? I love it. Just because I love it, not because I didn't hear it, but just
all right. Grimbold Stonehand.
Yes.
You're welcome.
That's a good dwarf name.
He's looking at you, Ratty, but he immediately sort of like half turns towards Bondo and sticks his hand out to Bondo. And goes, "Well met, the youngsters Thalgrim, my nephew. We're headed to Grinir, down from Gimbrin's mine." Like that. And Trimble sort of offers his hand to Bondo, and then they come around to all of the humans. So, Thalgrim goes to Ziggy, and he sort of, now he offers his hand to you, Ratty. None of them look in the direction. One of them looks in the direction of the elf, but then the other one doesn't.
As I shake his hand, is there some dwarf elf racial tension?
We got some beef.
Here?
What was that, Blue?
Oh God, yes.
We have beef.
Lots of
You got beef, yeah.
Racial beef.
Low fantasy beef.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, they sort of glance in the elf's direction, and they don't even look at her again, and they just carry on like offering their hands.
No, well, as they shake my hand, I sort of say, and now her hand.
And they both look at the elf, and then they turn back without even saying a word, and start unpacking their stuff and goes, over. Like that to Thalgrim, which actually Bondo you hear is.
Are they actually Klingons?
Sort of. It's Klingons the best I can do, man. Just deal with it, right? Kapla! Sorry. So Bondo, you hear is, listen, Thalgrim, old sport, go and get what's left of our mules' packs and see if any of them are alive. And Thalgrim just sort of nods and just like starts hopping and running off in all loops. What do dwarves do? They don't run. They sort of bounce. Saunter off into the darkness towards whence they came. Toddle, there you go.
Toddle off.
Toddle off.
Yeah.
Roll off.
Toddlers.
Thalgrim sort of gets out provisional packs, which were carrying with them, obviously their most precious stuff, and sort of goes through, checks the bags, and he says to Bondo, "Listen, old chap, we've got some provisions. The least we can do is offer some dinner." Also, got a bit, and he sort of opens a pouch and goes, "Also got some number 4 shag if you fancy a bit."
Oh, it's been too long, dear boy, too long.
So number 4 shag, I should point out, is actually like pipeweed. It's not what you think it might be.
Yeah.
All right.
But I have to say, Ratty has to say, so are you two shagging each other then?
You don't. Okay, you hear the word shag. You don't hear what they're everything else. Shag's an imperial word. Okay,
yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
He sort of looks at his somehow his lustrous beard just ruffles and ripples. It's quite an amazing effect, and just sort of like that, and sort of goes, "I presume you're joking, manling." And he sort of gets out a couple of pipes and he starts packing them down. He sits down pretty quickly. He hasn't even glanced at Blue.
Well, I say I might be joking, but I definitely ain't no racist.
So again, the dwarf is just ignoring you. Blue, what are you doing right now, by the way?
I'm quietly observing. I have my arms crossed,
Uh-huh.
and I'm assessing the situation here. Obviously, I'm put out because I don't understand what they're saying.
Yeah.
And I don't like their tone. I don't like the way that they're not acknowledging my presence.
Okay.
So, I'm gonna, seeing as that I've reached an impasse with these guys, and I'm probably gonna get very pissed off with them if I carry on talking with them much longer. I'm gonna go over to the zombie manticore corpse body, and just, is there any bits of it that I just sort of worth hacking off to kind of...
Yeah, it's interesting. The tail itself is very interesting because it's probably the most kind of together part of the body. You notice that the actual top of the tail has got this long spike, probably that length of a short sword, and it goes into this sort of like bulbous carapace. Is it carapace? Am I mispronouncing that? The armor. Carapace, thank you. Carapace, chitinous kind of chitinous armory type thing at the end of the tail. You think you could probably hack it off. I'm not entirely sure what use you could make of it, but there's definitely some kind of like poison, like a little bit of ichor was dripping off it. So there's something that you feel about that could be quite cool. Also, it's I don't know why, but you keep thinking like maybe it's eyes and various small like parts of like tuft of hair and things like that might be useful to scavenge.
Can I just ask sort of a general question?
Yeah.
Have any of us seen undead before? Because
I
don't think
know.
Ziggy has. Because it seemed to have skipped over that bit where we're all sitting down for
I don't know if you have
our
actually.
pipes, and I was just sort of planning to lose my shit a little bit more and just try and work out what's going on and why the dwarves are so keen and where it came from and that sort of thing. But I don't know if did I miss something last week where we were sort of
I don't think you have seen undead before.
No, in fairness, that's a good point. But we know this thing wasn't quite right.
It wasn't alive.
Like it had died.
Yeah,
I
but
got to know
it's
it
still
very
moving around, which is kind of freaky.
Well, you can totally discuss that amongst yourselves. So obviously, you failed your fear test, so that was part of the reason why everyone presumes. So, yeah.
So I'm gonna say to the dwarves in old world. I say, so is this sort of beast common in these parts? It seemed to be. I don't know, some sort of abomination, not even a normal monstrous creation. I've never seen the like, and I consider myself an experienced man. He's 17 years old.
Yeah, exactly.
He's chatting shit to the dwarves who are like 2 centuries old or something.
Yeah. So the other dwarf, actually, at that point, the younger dwarf comes back and just scoffs when you say that and goes, "Not likely, Mandan. No, that was some kind of, God forbid, chaos monstrosity. Probably brought it back from the dead, who God knows. Possibly, elf magic could do that, I suppose." And they start laughing, and neither of them are still looking at the elf, but they're sort of like they're obviously making a joke. They're not insinuating that elves actually perform necromancy and stuff like that. But no, I'm
going to glare at them as I loudly off this end of this tail with, I'm sort of like, hacking very demonstratively.
Tom, bearing in mind that this is like Ratty, do you go ha 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 like that, like as if
yeah, I do.
Yeah, like a comment.
Yeah,
okay, cool.
Yeah, thank you. That was a good Ratty moment that I should have thought of.
That's all right.
You did it for me. Thank you.
I'm here to support you, buddy. Here to support you.
I don't like racists.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
So the two dwarves sort of unpack their gear. They've offered to make dinner for you all, and they've also brought out a pot, and they've actually got some herbal tea, which is apparently smells actually beautiful. And they are loading some pipes up, so they do have pipes that they're going to load up with this shag. They do offer it around to everybody. I don't know if any of you are smokers or not. It's entirely up to you. We didn't establish that. I'm going to say that apart from Bondo, who probably is or has been a smoker, any of you could choose, but as none of you really have ever made that issue, I'm assuming that none of you smoked before. But if you want to have some of this shag, you can.
I'm all set.
You're all set. Okay.
I've tried shag, but it makes me cough and embarrass myself too much. So
fair enough.
I'm probably allergic.
Ratty, are you partaking, sir?
No, because the racists.
Fair
it
enough.
belongs to the racists.
Okay.
Yeah.
Bondo, what are you doing, sir?
I'm enjoying a nice hot shag.
Cool. Thank you very much for going with that joke as well. Good. So can you please roll your toughness? Because this is you start Tokyo on it, and here's some particularly heavy shag, sir. It's a heavy shag. Can you roll your toughness plus 20 as you are a gnome, sir?
Okay. You stop. Who's got the dice? Leave it alone.
Yeah, you do it.
There we go. Right.
So you got plus 20 because you are a gnome, so 58. Is that your toughness plus 2 or something?
My toughness is 4, so...
That's 40. Plus 20,
yeah.
That's 60. Yeah, that's fine. It's a pass.
Yeah.
Okay, so you tote back. This is some very fine, if not heavy, shag. It's just as well the long legs didn't try any of it, because they probably will be quite sick right now. But you enjoy a good toke, sir. So, so the Grumbril and Thalgrim are sort of, they have some, they're going through their possessions, and they are chatting to you now. They're a bit more chilled out. They are completely ignoring the elf, completely, but they do offer the food round. And when the food, which actually smells fantastic, they're obviously very, very good cooks. When it does come around, they don't seem to object to the elf taking any. They're just not acknowledging her in any way, shape, or form. You sit around the campfire. Obviously, you can ask questions and stuff, so I'll sort of leave it to you lot to roleplay this a little bit, and you can ask them any questions you wish.
I should point out, even though... so, all right, while I'm hacking and because they've settled down to smoke their foul shagweed, I will say to them, so I think we were going where you're coming from.
He goes, oh, where would that be then? Up near, up to the Frugal, was it?
Has he turned into your dad?
He's slowly turning to my dad, isn't he? Sorry.
Don't do that.
Where was I? Oh yeah, no, that was not right either. Jesus, got my dad in my head now. Why is my dad in my head? That's fucked up. All right.
Grumbril Stonehand. There we go. Oh no, we're from the Grimbrins mine. Way up in the mountains, past Frugalhofen.
Have I got it wrong? Can I just, as an aside, say, have I got it wrong and we're not going in that direction?
No,
You're heading towards Frugalhofen.
You're heading towards Frugalhofen. Apparently their mine is past Frugalhofen. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, we're going to check out some burial mounds up that way.
Oh! He sort of scratches his sort of beard and sits back with his pipe.
You wouldn't know anything about that?
No. Mind you, we just stick to the mines. That's enough work in scratching a living with a seam in its last gasp as it is.
Can you please make a fellowship test, Tom?
Yes, I can.
No penalties or modifiers, even though you have called them essentially dirty racists, which they are. But,
Did I say it?
I don't think you said it out loud. I think you were
didn't
more
say
diplomatic.
it out loud.
No, you're
I've
more
said
diplomatic. As an aside, to your ferrets. 91. Jesus.
Still fail it.
Okay.
Just because my contempt just shines.
Yeah, your contempt gets the better of you, and I don't know what word you say, but you try and load it with the same meaning as racist. And
I do. Rattigan does think that all small races, like gnomes, dwarves, hobbits, they are all just children.
Yeah,
like hairy children.
He does think they're hairy.
So I probably have just
naughty boy.
Yeah.
All right.
You naughty boy. How do they have children? Do they have? I could do that. I could get back to Ratty's voice.
Yeah, right. It's hard when you give it a break, isn't it?
I know. It's do they have children working in the mines up at Frugalhofen then? This is what I ask. Which completely.
Thalgrim turns to Bondo and goes, "What the bloody hell is that man jabbering about? Clearly he's mad."
No, unfortunately, dear boy, he actually believes that we're all small humans.
Oh, good God.
I believe he's been touched by Tal a little too firmly.
Touched? He sounds like he's been absolutely smashed.
What ho?
And then the older one goes, "Now listen here, old jab, what exactly are you doing in these places? This man's jabbering on about bounds or burial mounds or some kind of nonsense like that."
Well, that is the general gist of it, I'm afraid. But we're on a mission for the lovely chap over at the Maison Tal to investigate burial mounds in the general hereabouts.
Oh, how fascinating. Well, we don't know much about that, but I tell you what, one dwarf to a cousin gnome, old Bardak might be able to help you, though. He's the lawmaster at the mine, been there for a couple of centuries now, and he says he knows the area pretty well. Ask for Baradak Baratan, and mind you, talk respectful, he's important, lawmaster and whatnot. When you get to Frugal...
What
was that?
Yes, of course, he's an elder. Of course.
Indeed. You might want to tape back the elf's ears, if you know what I mean, or not. They all start laughing.
No!
Only the three of them start laughing because the rest of you have no idea what they're talking about.
When you laugh at your cat or your dog and they don't know what you're saying, but you know they act like they know exactly why you're laughing at them.
It's that kind of thing. That's how you feel. Exactly that's the look you're giving them. Okay.
I'll see if I can arrange some sort of a hat or a beanie or something. I'm sure it'll be fine.
And then Thalgrim goes, or don't. So Grimble carries on. Listen, when you get to Frugalhof and you're passing through, which you probably should, go to Hector Brioche, which all of you hear that name, Hector Brioche. The miller, and get a bottle of his brandy. Old Bartok's fond of that. It'll do you more good than anything. But mind you, keep that pointy ear out of sight. He does help. He particularly hates elves more than the most of us hate greenskins. What?
Oh, I see. Okay, well, thank you very much for that. It is most kind.
Blue, for no reason whatsoever, your tips of your ears start burning red.
Oh, I can't imagine why I would be feeling mad.
All right, cool. They sort of revert back to old world Imperial and go, anybody else for any more? Sort of offering around the food again. The food is fantastic, by the way, and all of you can take a wound back. Anybody that's lost a wound, you gain a wound from the nourishment of the food. It's particularly good. So I think it's just Steve. So just Steve can take a wound back.
Steve just Oh no, Jim lost one as well. Jim
lost one, yeah. He got a minor scratch. Yeah, sure. Cool. After you've eaten, unless you want to ask any more questions, anybody? Ziggy, Blue, anybody? Blue?
I would say that, Del, I'm not eating any of the food. I'm holding the plate, but I'm not eating it, and I'm just kind of taking my bag and eating a couple of rations that I have in my bag, but I'm like decidedly not eating their food.
All right, cool, no worries. Cool, that can be a thing. Yep, sure. Anybody else? Ziggy, you haven't really said that much, I guess.
No, I was just thinking that Ziggy would sort of notice the sort of the tension, but wouldn't know what's going on, and probably try to diffuse it by saying something sort of horribly
asinine.
Like, so, what is it like to spend your whole life living in a tree? I hear that's what you go, and probably see a look from Del and just like finish the sentence.
Just wither, just absolutely wither.
I like the fact that you're trying to diffuse the situation by sort of turning it back on the elf.
His heart was in the right place. He was trying to ask a question. He was just ignorant.
Amazing. All right, so so you do attempt to do that. It doesn't quite work. You back out and sort of start just not doing anything really.
Yeah, sort of stare at my sword and sort of.
Yeah, you start cleaning your sword, which is what you do in times.
Find something to look at on the dust. Yeah.
All right, mate.
I was thinking I could relate this onto the party, so that there's a little less of that tension. Tell them what's going on and all that sort of thing. Obviously, tone down the pointy ears bits.
Sure. Yeah, you jump over the pointy ears bit quite spectacularly. Okay, cool. The night is fine and clear and dry, and passes after all of you sort of get your bedrolls out. You assign watch. Amongst you, the dwarves obviously were taking the first watch, or offered to take the first watch and the last watch as well. So you need to have a decent unbroken sleep, most of you. About an hour or so, it must be somewhere between midnight and 1 o'clock in the morning. As you're all settling down, the darkness is suddenly shattered by a blazing light to the east or the northeast, bright enough to waken anybody that was sort of dozing off. After about 20 seconds later, all of you start staring around towards the distance, towards the end of the Frugal Valley. There's a deafening crash of thunder which reaches you. A few seconds later, all of you that are looking to the east see a distant mountain shaped roughly like a pyramid, silhouetted by dazzling lightning for almost a full minute. The thunder takes again 20 seconds to reach you. At this point, is anybody a ranger here? Nobody's a ranger, are they? God forbid.
No.
Yeah, okay. So, Grumbly and Thalgrim are on their feet, looking at display. That's right on the Frugalhorn, says Grumbly. There seems to be coming out of this clear sky, no clouds around the mountain at all. He starts stroking his beard. Never seen anything like it. He scratches his head perplexedly for a moment, and then shrugs and gets back into his bedroll and actually turns in. The lightning flickers a bit more with reducing intensity, and then stops altogether. Thalgrim sort of just chuckles, gets another pipe out and starts putting the pipe in. Goes, right, I'll be taking first watch, and stands up and starts walking out just within visual range, but starts sort of like walking very casually with his pipe, slowly in a wide circle around the camp. Yeah, that was pretty something. So basically, it was the frugal horn that you saw, which is this thing here, and there was like lightning bolts zipping off it for a good full minute. But as quite rightly the dwarf said, there were no clouds in the sky, and where you are, which isn't that far, I guess, in terms of mileage from the actual mountain, is completely clear. You can't see any clouds apart from the clouds that appeared around the mountain itself.
I'm going to go up to. Did Ratty see that? Were we all awake when we?
Everybody was awake, yeah. Unless you were deliberately sleeping immediately, which I don't think anybody was. You all saw that, yeah.
I think that sort of thing. Ziggy considers himself to be fairly, and he's not, but he's considered himself to be fairly brave in terms of like fighting and stuff. But that sort of thing really creeps him out. And he's going to sort of shift over to Ratty and say, "So, what do you make of that? The dwarves seemed a little bit perturbed. Is that something you have any experience of? This lightning, and is it something to do with Tal and the worship of your pagan god?"
How to make friends and influence people.
This light is. I'm going to try and pretend. I'm going to try and pretend. Because I now feel like I'm level 1, even though obviously I don't know what that means. I'm going to try and pretend to be knowledgeable. Yes. Basically, what that is Tal blessing a bunny rabbit.
I love the fact you're trying to go through this. It's brilliant. Sorry, blessing a bunny rabbit. Okay.
It's blessing. He's blessing. Like, I go on about the Squirrel King, right?
Yeah.
Well, this is like occasionally he likes to make one of his little creatures another, like a king or a lord or something. So that's what happens.
That's preposterous.
This is what he does, and that's why I've always been looking for the Squirrel King, because I want that. I think that way I'll understand my power, because maybe I got it the same way as him.
With your permission, Neil, I'm going to roll an intelligence check, and if I fail, I'm going to absolutely believe that.
Now you know Ratty for a long time. I'm going to give you plus 20 on your roll. So
I succeeded.
It's a critical success. It's a critical success. Okay.
I'm just going to look at him. And then sort of shake my head and stand up and walk back to the campfire.
Steve, actually what I'm going to allow you, because this is a critical success, sir. This is a legendary roll. This is like to offset your legendary failure. So anything 0, 1 to 05 is a legendary roll. This is basically like God level stuff. This is me level stuff. So you can actually now, with that, you turn around and walk off. There's something, Tom, there's something in the walk, and there's something with the assurity of tone as Ziggy walks off. You suddenly get shaken to your core, and for the first time since, I guess, the first time you came across the idea of the Squirrel King, you wonder whether or not the Squirrel King is real, or whether it was just a fancy of your imagination, and you don't know the answer.
Well, I yell after him as he walks off. It's true. It's blooming true.
Ziggy, as you walk off into the darkness, you hear a slight waver at the end of his voice, and your mouth spreads into the widest grin of satisfaction you've had in some time. And this time, they all saw it.
They see it when I'm doing the whole Schadenfreude thing, but
exactly.
Otherwise,
no.
I'm not a human thing. Yeah.
All right. Cool. Is anybody else doing anything else? Otherwise, you're all going to sort of tuck in for the night and take your turns on watch and whatnot.
I'm not sleeping. I think I'm probably creeped out. Ziggy's probably creeped out by the whole thing, so he's going to spend the night sort of just wrapped in a blanket, sort of rocking backwards and forth, and trying as best he can to sort of get rid of the stench of undead manticore bowel juice.
Fair enough, man. I don't blame you, dude. Anybody else? So, Blue, what are you doing? Anything you're doing particularly?
Fascinated by the concept of a Squirrel King. Did I overhear that conversation?
You totally, you could totally heard that. He was screaming out of the darkness.
Yeah. It's a whole new concept for you. Who are these people? These people that I've attached myself to, that I'm going to go and check out some mysterious burial mounds with. Yeah, they seem with it. They seem fully there.
Yeah, I'm basically weighing my options if I could leave or if I should stay. No.
This is going to be a good time to leave these fuckers. All right, cool.
Yeah, no.
All right, cool. And Bondo, I guess you're snoring like a baby already. Do babies snore? I guess they do. Yeah, babies snoring like a baby already. Yeah.
If you pinch their noses.
If you pinch their noses, I'm pretty sure we can't suggest that on this channel, but okay. All right, folks. So the morning breaks. The fine evening, fine night gives way to a fine morning. It's summertime now. You've actually sort of crossed a season in the last week or so, really. So it's glorious summertime, and the morning wakes with a beautiful vista of the Frugal Valley, which has lost any of its kind of like menace and surprise that last night's events took. The manticore body is still there, but looks pretty like deflated, kind of like a shit whoopee cushion with bones and flesh sticking out of it. You notice that its tail's been hacked off somewhat unceremoniously. And yeah, none of you were really paying attention to that, I guess, but its tail has definitely been sort of hacked off. Oh, that's gone completely out of control, Neil. Stop doing that. Yeah, and the dwarves sort of are already up. They're already packed. You notice they're now carrying pretty much everything because obviously their mules didn't make it. So obviously they're sort of carrying everything with them. They give you a hearty sort of, "Well met, travellers, and good luck. Stay well. And remember what we said." And he sort of turned to Bonnie and goes, "Remember what we said, old chap. Brandy. Hector. Good luck."
Thank you so much, dear boy.
"Lovely to meet you. Fine chaps. Sorry about the elf." And they just sort of like, well, at that point they sort of walk off. Cool. All right. Unless there's anything specific you want to do, you can sort of carry on your journey, folks.
No, I think that's good. I think we should head to Flugelhafen.
Cool. Can everybody get another wound back that lost a wound? I'm looking at Steve. Just Steve. So Steve, you're trying to brave it out, mate. But you are a bit fucked up, to be honest. But you're sort of not as bad as you were, I guess.
I think considering I was inside the belly of an undead monster, I
pretty
came
fucking
up pretty
cool,
well,
right?
actually.
Yeah. Pretty boss, dude. All right. So,
totally planned it.
Totally meant to do it. All right. So I'm going to put you at the base here, just to sort of draw you an idea. I'm going to be talking as well as drawing because I didn't have the wherewithal to do this while you lot were all messing around with the dwarves. So you enter from the south here on the Vastforter. I'm going to lump you here together, but I might just use one of you, like Ratty, I think, to move all of you, if that makes sense. You appear at the base of the village. The next day cools down. It's overcast. It is a bit overcast now. You reach the village just after noon of the second day. Well, it's actually more like dusk, actually, because you've been on foot. It seems like a really nice, lovely, picturesque town. Well, not even a town, something like a village. There's what you can see offhand, about 15, 20 buildings that are scattered around here and over here and through here, like this. There seems to be like a central area. There's almost like a mini road that's been built around it. These are not going to be totally accurate, folks. I'm just sort of doing this a bit willy-nilly. The only major noticeable thing is you see one building alone on the other side of the Vastforter, and it looks like it's surrounded by a walled orchard here. There's what looks to be a stables here and a large townhouse. The rest of them are really well-made houses, and there's sort of even like a shingled area, which kind of works as a kind of like a road, really, or kind of like a street anyway. So this place has been here, clearly has been here a long time. It's very well developed. It's not many more than the houses you see in front of you, but it's actually, there's been a lot of planning done and thought about it, because all this area that I'm doing here is definitely all got shingles, so it makes like a makeshift road. You see some horses and carts nearby. It looks like there is a little bit of minor industry, not just like foraging or anything, and certainly a lot of the fields around it, all the fields around it here, they are all developed, and they all look like fertile farming. So this is a small but flourishing, not even town, like a village actually, almost like a large hamlet. But all of these areas here are developed farmland. And also of the side, which I'm not going to bother drawing in. The Vastforter is here, which I'll just give you a little colour just to help you a little bit. So you can see it here. This is the Vastforter. Oh, that didn't work. Fuck it. Oi, Neil, come on. This is the bit of colour. There you go. That's all right. There you have a splash of colour. That's the Vastwater?
It's beautiful.
Yeah, I know, man. I know. And you're sort of entering where Ratty is. You're sort of entering on this wooden mini bridge, but it's a very strong made bridge. It's very sturdy over the top of the Vastwater. You notice the Vastwater is quite deep, and this bridge actually it sort of bends over the top like this. Like that, so that blue mark is sort of like the bridge goes there, so you sort of go up and down it, as opposed to it being a flat bridge that just covers it. So presumably that at some point the Vastwater swells a little bit, maybe with the winter water coming down from the snow in the mountains, it sort of gets a bit higher or whatnot. It also seems to be moving pretty rapidly, actually. Unlike the water that was a bit calmer down La Maison Tell after the waterfall, certainly, the water here does move fast. There's a quick current to it. So you probably have to be quite a strong swimmer to keep pace in case you fell into it for whatever god awful reason.
Just in case you
I'm
fell
not
into
saying
it.
that for any particular reason. I'm just saying that because it's interesting. Steve?
I'm having flashbacks.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Okay. So, folks, what do you want to do? What's going down?
Well, I think we should approach the town in a sort of a cautious but open way. So, yeah, see if we can find someone who might be in charge and somewhere I can have a bath that doesn't involve drowning in the Vastwater. And maybe
Roll
if it's
for
dusk,
bath. Roll for bathing.
and maybe sort of find some place. If it's dusk, perhaps we could stay somewhere tonight.
That's a very good point, Steve. You absolutely stink. I forgot to tell you that. You stink.
Sorry, I worked it out.
You worked it out, right?
I think we were all aware of it.
I think you're all aware. So none of you actually near him, because quite frankly, why
I'm
would you be?
6 feet apart.
Yeah, basically. But you're sort of
social distancing.
so you're social distancing away from Steve, right? As you walk through, you see the townsfolk, the village folk, who all sort of look at you with the kind of not wonder, not like they've never seen outsiders before, but just like curious, just with curiosity, and they sort of look at you and they give you a little wave if you're polite enough to wave back, and if not, they sort of ignore you after a while. They're all going about their business.
What's the demographic of the population? Are they guessing they're not dwarves?
No, the demographic is very human. You actually hear. They also speak. They're quite loud people. There's quite a big area they cover, so they're quite loud people. But it's a funny thing that you hear Imperial, obviously, but you also hear what you think might be. Well, you definitely know, Blue, it's Bretonnian, even though you don't speak Bretonnian. You recognise it. And Ratty, you'll probably have a hard time following most of the conversations. You hear this weird kind of mix like patois between Imperial and Bretonnian. It's almost like there's a dialect that's pretty unique here. Ziggy, you're affronted by these yokels who have just smashed Imperial next to nothing, and they can't obviously speak at all well. It's quite embarrassing, actually, even though this town looks quite prosperous and everything.
It's Alsace.
Sorry, you spoke over each other, what did you say?
I'm just saying, it's Alsace, isn't it?
It's Alsace-Lorraine, yeah. It's very much, if anybody knows in the real world Alsace-Lorraine, it's kind of like that, where they have like a mixture of German and French. It's kind of like that, which is kind of cool. For real world reference, I think. Ziggy, anything particularly annoying and deeply upsetting you want to say? To the people of
I
Frigglehofen?
resent that implication.
Not to me.
No,
I enjoy the whim. I enjoy the whimsiness of your character. I just meant to the general population you're passing.
I'm going to sort of yell out, well, not yell out. I'm going to call to a farmer. Hello, Bumpkin. Is there anywhere you could direct us to a place we could stay the night? in sort of, and I'm going to deliberately sort of put like extra, so it's like the equivalent of the proper sort of Hochdeutsch, whatever the sort of the gold-plated Imperial is, just to really rub it in their faces, like speaking BBC English to someone who's got a regional accent sort of thing.
You come in Chambers zum Bahnhof.
Something like that, yeah.
All right, cool. So you get Drake. He goes, yeah. See, brioche. You will show you. There's probably somewhere you could stay, like that, and sort of humps and goes back to his work, which is sort of like putting up really nice like. Okay.
Go back to your menial labour. I have taken enough of your time.
Right, you carry on walking. Now you're definitely getting the attention.
I don't mean it offensively.
Sure.
Yeah.
In the same way that many people that say really deeply and insensitive things don't mean it. They just,
don't mean it.
Mean to say that. All right, so you carry on walking. After a while, actually, there's a man who's got like an apron on, He's sort of like rotund, but obviously in good health, like quite bouncy and quite energetic. Starts coming towards you. He's got a receding hairline, and very ruddy red cheeks, but he's got this enormous smile on his face. He's sort of scratching his head in an affable, bemused manner. Well, well, he said, more visitors. Welcome to Frugalhofen. We do seem to be popular all of a sudden. We've had more visitors in the last couple of weeks than we normally get in 10 years, you see. My own spare rooms are taken, I'm afraid. Obviously, you will be wanting to stay here the night at least. He furrows his brow briefly at thought. Oh, and the Pappins have a guest. There's even a gentleman sleeping in the barn. Oh, yes. And sort of clicks his fingers. I have it. Try the window La Rue. The two-story house next to the stables and the dairy. She owns the stables, you see, and she might be willing to let you sleep there. I'm afraid it's probably the best we can do at the moment. No, listen, if there's anything else I can do while you're in Frugalhofen, do let me know, but you must excuse me for a moment. I must go and check the cider press. Enjoy your stay. By the way, having a bit of an open house tonight. We do it every year. Tomorrow's a bit of a local festival, you see, and just about everybody that's anybody in this tiny place looks in. Consider yourself invited. Okay. Brioche, the name. Ta-ta! And he sort of immediately turns around and just walks straight off. He's also surrounded by a couple of small kids like teenagers, who sort of are helping him carry various things. And he looks incredibly busy, but super jovial. Like, this is a man who knows his place in life and is deeply satisfied by it, if that makes sense.
Is this the innkeeper?
No. Well, you don't. Well, he's not. Well, you don't know if he's the innkeeper. Well, actually, you would assume he's the innkeeper because you're that kind of arsehole.
Okay.
You don't know.
My good man, can you direct me to some place I could have a bath?
He sort of goes around and goes, oh, try the wasp water. Just hold on to something. But it's jolly good at doing that kind of stuff. Bye. And he sort of saunters off. He's going towards the house here, which presumably is where he lives. One would assume the large house with the orchard. He sort of walks this way, that direction with these two kids. You're sort of at the middle of the town, I would guess, over here. Where Ziggy is, sort of like the centre of the village, not town. It's a village. You haven't seen any kind of like chapels or anything religious, which is in itself a little unusual, I would say. There's usually somewhere, but these houses look well constructed, well made, well maintained. And if they were in like the middle of a proper town like Bogenhofen, they'd be very expensive places because they're very large. But in the middle of here, obviously, location, and all that, they're probably not worth that much. So you can see clearly the dairy and stables and the house over here. There is a stables here, a very large one, which is just as well. You haven't got any horses or anything. What do you want to do, folks? You're sort of in slap bang in the middle of this town. People are moving around. They look at you and they sort of doff their caps and say a good tag or bonjour. You know, they sort of literally use both expressions, or sometimes together at the same time.
Did you say that the festival was tonight?
Yeah, the festival starts tonight and goes on tomorrow.
Do we know? I'm guessing we don't know. This is like just their town festival. Do we see like any banners or anything describing what this could be, like what it's about?
Sure, you see lots of... Sorry.
Well, I'm pretty sure it's something to do with the blessing of the bunny. It must be. Tonight we will meet our new Lord Bunny. That's what it's going to be. It'll be welcomed and brought into the town and probably bestow blessings on all of us.
Don't bunnies usually get sacrificed?
I was thinking more of like the purge. I'm a little worried.
Right, the purge, okay.
It could also be a purge. Yes, it could be that.
Through the purge.
Oh, God save us.
Ziggy, you know for a fact...
He's going to face palm really, really hard and hurt his eye a bit.
Okay, you're going to face palm him?
I'm going to face palm myself.
Oh, right. I think you're going to face palm Tom with his own hand because you rolled critical and you're still dining out on that.
I've never tried before face palming somebody else. No, I'm going to face palm myself.
Still dining out that critical success. So you face palm yourself to the point where your eyeballs moves like half a centimetre into the socket a little bit. It squidges up a little bit before popping out like a...
Nice. So, I say, my point, we really must find lodging. I stink like Beelzebub's behind, and I'm in need of a good night's sleep. I didn't sleep very well last night, so maybe we should find this widow.
Okay. Clearly the house here, I'm going to mark it on for you. The one he did helpfully point at is the W here. That's Widow Larue's house, and this is the stables next to it. So you're pretty much right next to it at the moment. There's another building here, but you're not sure what that does in front of it, but there's some kind of building, possibly a storehouse or something. But hers is this building here. You do see somebody in the window of the lower floor. Also, can everybody make an initiative test, please?
I don't like rolling dice.
I know, but just humour me. It's a roleplay game.
I fail.
96.
What was that? Wait, sorry. Did you just critically fail that roll?
No.
Did you get 96? I'm going to have so much goddamn fun with you right now. This is brilliant. Okay, I'm just going to find something deeply fucking appropriate or not to use. I'm not sure what I can use.
What was I rolling for then? Initiative test.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So all right. So you sort of who passed and who failed? Sorry.
Bondo passed.
All right.
Ratty failed.
So Bondo, you notice, and anybody else that passed, you notice. Ziggy, you keep walking. You're going to walk You basically turn around and start explaining to everybody how you think the bunny rabbit is just a bunch of bollocks, and you shouldn't believe Ratty, and he's talking shit. And as you're doing this, and then this whole thing falls apart when you realise that a bunny has no opposable thumbs and can't hold. And as you keep doing that, you literally feel this point in the back of your neck, and you just stop still, and you sort of half turn, and you realise there's a dagger right at the back of your neck, because you're actually you've sort of been aiming towards the house, but instead of the house you were walking towards the fence and the gate here, and you were about to basically walk into somebody who stopped you with a stiletto or something at the nape of your neck. And now there's and everybody else has basically been looking at you Ziggy, and they didn't stop you because it's you and it's them. And yeah, there's now a stiletto digging slightly into the skin at the back of your neck. You almost walked into somebody, basically.
Wow.
Okay. I'm going to say thanks for telling me, guys.
Not like we didn't try, you bloody fool manling.
Actually, Bondo did lift a finger at one point, and then just that was the only thing that happened. Blue, did you pass, Blue, as well?
I passed, yes.
Cool. So Blue and Bondo, you actually saw you see an elf figure, sort of half leaning, half sitting against this wooden gate, presumably waiting for something or looking quite bored. She gave you all a brief, a general sort of look of appraisal, and she's well armed, which is not an unusual sight for an elf to be well armed in a remote area. I can give you a description, you two a description if you wish. If you give me a second, I need to try and find her.
Yes, please.
Okay, so she is quite a tall, dark-tanned elf. She is, in fact, you two pass your initiative. She looks absolutely like she can handle herself. There is a sort of quiet confidence about her that is, at first, very intimidating. Sorry, she's not tall. Sorry, I should have mentioned that. She's quite small. She's only about 5'3", to the point where you could easily mistake her for being human, or actually maybe even something like from a distance, maybe even like a tall halfling or something. She's tanned and healthy though, and the sunshine gives her fair hair very appealing highlights. She's got deep blue eyes, which are darting around a little bit, almost like she's taking everything in at a moment's glance. She looks like she's got a sort of streak of strength in her, which you two notice. The other people, you don't really notice that, but you two. She's carrying a very long sword on her side. There's an elf bow, which you notice, by the way, Blue, because elf bows are like rites of passage bows. They're like when you get to maturity, when you sort of get to a certain age or you pass a certain test, they're bestowed upon you by your family. Elf bows are basically stronger than normal bows. They give you their effective strength 4, I believe, so they make them devastating weapons.
Cool.
They're really and they can fire every round an arrow, so they're pretty fucking awesome things to have. She's got an elf bow, and she clearly knows her business. Can you discuss amongst yourselves? I'm just going to be right back, so be right back, folks. Just discuss something amongst yourselves of what you want to do.
So maybe take that knife away from my friend's throat. That'd be good. I just realised I can role play, but Neil can't be there to reply to us. So
yeah, it's true.
Sorry about that. Catch me up.
Yep. So Tom started to roleplay and then realised that you weren't actually there
I was
to
not here at
pick
all,
up
no.
on it.
I had to
So
go and get
go
it.
again, Tom.
I know my mate might have pissed you off by just walking into you, rambling about his theories about why I'm talking bollocks. But maybe could you please take your knife away from his throat, please? Thank you.
She sort of looks at you and sort of like gives you a wink, Ratty. What is it with elves and you, dude? What is that about, huh?
I reckon he's got a bit of Bretonian in him.
I think so, right? So she gives you a wink and goes, as you say, Bright Eyes. And she sort of flicks this stiletto out and puts it into her pocket. And she sort of like looks towards you, Blue.
Did she say, so, you know about the rabbit queen, huh? Pretty cool.
Sadly, this dashing heroine doesn't come to the damsel that is Rattigan's defence. It just leaves that question hanging for everybody.
I had to try.
But she did call you Bright Eyes, which I guess is the thing. She also sort
like
of
a rabbit.
Yeah.
It's a clue. It's like a Watership Down reference.
There you go.
So,
well done. You're on board. So she sort of pushes with her back and her posterior. She sort of pushes off from the fence and actually immediately sort of crosses past Ziggy. Ziggy, please make a cool test because you've just seen yet another drop dead gorgeous elf who's just had a knife to your neck, which is extremely hot, I think, for a 17-year-old.
Dude.
Yeah, low fancy, man. Low fancy.
Yeah. Okay. Low. Here we go. We're rolling the dice, and we got 0-5. It's feast or famine. So yeah,
0-5. Really, that's a critical success.
Actually, crit success.
Okay.
Can I do something even vaguely cool?
Yes, you can. You can, and you know what? I think everybody's going to notice this because it was a critical success, and even I can't bend the laws of time and physics. Okay, what do you want to do, Sam? What do you want to do? So you've got what do you want to do? Retorting combat. This is your moment, Steve. Don't fuck it up.
No, I'm just going to stand up and straighten my shoulders and sort of crick my neck to one side, like, where all the muscles sort of go like that and crick back. I go, you wouldn't have tried that to my face.
She sort of stops. Cool. She sort of stops and looks at you. Yeah, she stops and looks at you and goes. She stops next to you and actually leans in a little bit and goes, "Well, there's still time." And she turns around and just starts walking off towards where the direction of the mill. She also gives one last look back, and Ziggy, you're not sure if she's looking at you or Ratty or both.
Okay. Ziggy's going to have to excuse himself.
Ziggy's going to go and find a winner.
Ziggy is busy concealing his owner.
Right. Blue, can you make an intelligence test, please? 6. Wow, high rolls, folks, on the narrative episode. Not the combat heavier episode. Okay, that's 6,
roll
right?
0 to not fall into the manticore's belly.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, roll 0-5. Yeah.
Okay, so Blue, because this is a sensitive piece of information, I'm going to send you a tell, okay? Because I can't really do this for anybody's benefit apart from yours, including the audience. So I'm just going to send you something to have a quick look at. Yeah, that's cool.
Cake. It's a cake.
Okay, cool. So at that point, the door opens up to the widow's house, and standing there is a long, elegant woman with very fine features, almost a little bit out of place, almost like a supermodel that's retired kind of look. She's quite stunning for a human, and she sort of just looks down at you and goes, "Oui." Why have I made everybody sexy in this episode? What's going on with you, Neil?
I know.
What's going on, mate? What's going on? Everyone's wrong with me at the moment. It's a very sexy. Well, you know what? We're all adults here.
I personally found the Manticore very sexy.
That's a very deep inside the Manticore.
Yeah, Ziggy getting deep in the Manticore.
Deep into the Manticore.
Deeply arousing.
I find it very arousing. Okay, so this is the widow, presumably the widow Larue. She's a striking woman, younger than what you suspect. She's probably older than she looks. She definitely doesn't look like some kind of dried out old spinster.
I'm imagining Michelle Pfeiffer.
Yeah, exactly like. Imagine Michelle Pfeiffer. It's exactly what she looks like. Yeah, mm-hmm. She goes, "Oui," and then who's got the highest fellowship amongst the human men, please?
Not me, I can guarantee.
I've actually got Siggy's got a fellowship of 47.
Cool.
But it's mainly because he's got a really, you haven't heard, an amazing singing voice, and he's got an amazing singing voice, but he just never sings.
He's also classically handsome. He's a very good-looking chap. He's just a bit of a dickhead. So when he opens his mouth, his fellowship drops in half. You know, it's like. Okay, so she sort of looks around and she claps eyes on you, Ziggy. And she just, her eyes are like piercing blue, and she just says again, "Oui," like that. You can do this narratively, folks, because obviously the time is pushing on, or not. It's entirely up to you. I can sustain this accent as long as you want. So she just looks at you like, "Oui," like that, and she's just staring at Ziggy, like not even pretending to look elsewhere.
I'm sorry, I cannot remember your name. All I remember is that your husband is dead and you have a room tonight.
She goes,
Highest fellowship of the bunch of
Drops Mike on stage.
And he's bricked it.
Like,
Totally bricked it.
so
Yeah.
she looks at you. She looks at you and goes, "Yes, my husband died sadly." So she's not sad. She seems to be smiling. Sadly, some years ago. Now, are you looking for a place to stay? You all four of you look like you have a need of rest and recuperation. I don't know what I'm doing with Widow LaRue, but I'm going with it. I'm in for a penny, man. Let's just fucking do it. Let's do it.
I like the idea that she just acted as if she was goosed, but she wasn't. It
Yeah.
was just like.
So, are the rumors true about? Sorry,
Yeah, okay.
I went a bit Lily von Stuck then.
Yeah, a little bit
Yeah, I can't do the accent anymore. It's true.
It's true. It's true.
That's always true.
All right.
Okay. I'm going to sort of raise an eyebrow and say that you have a room for the night. I mean,
She goes, "Yes, I have one room for one of you for the night, and the others can stay in the stables. I have no problem with this. If you would like, of course, I could." And she's sort of like talking directly at you. "I could show you the room now."
and at that moment, the waft of the bowel stench.
Exactly right. Yeah. And she sort of steps back horrifiedly. Goes, "If you would like a bath first, I can give you a towel and some soap, and you can use the fast water. There's a dipping pool over there." Her hand is now to her mouth, and she sort of like she does that thing where she goes like that, and sort of throws up in her mouth and then swallows it, like that thing. Like that, and then just points at the dipping pool.
Straight, say, "I apologise. I came this morning from the belly of a dead man," and then I'm just gonna
turn him off. Okay. She sort of hands you like this. She goes inside, hands the towel, sort of waves you over there, and sort of just straightens herself up as presumably. I'm assuming you're leaving. Well, we're going to go into narrative because I think this is getting ridiculous, folks. So basically, she's offered to put three of you up in the stables. There's also another occupant who's actually who's bunking down there with you. There's grains and food stuff stored in there. The barn is bigger than you needed, so therefore, like half it's been converted into kind of like a open dorm kind of thing. There's another character in there as well. And Ziggy comes back, and you're actually directed, and she sort of goes, so much better, and sort of flicks her hair a little bit, and you get a room. So your room is opposite Widow LaRue's room, and which she sort of like says, "My room is just over there." I think on that cliffhanger note, with you just holding this tiny wet towel, I'm going to break here, folks, because I want to talk about XP and developing your characters, because this is a big cliffhanger. She puts a stool out from nowhere in the corridor and just puts a leg on there, and like the last thing you look at and goes, "Herr LaRue, are you trying to seduce me?"
Hang on. So what you're saying is this is the first and hopefully the last episode where the cliffhanger is Ziggy meets a MILF.
Yeah, basically. Basically, this is the first and last time. This is a weird one even for me, but we're gonna go with it, folks, because we've run out of time.
Oh my god!
So the cliffhanger is: will he rise to the occasion, or will the occasion get the better of him? Let's find out, or not, in the break.
Same bad time, same bad channel.
Okay, cool. So we're going to pause it here, folks, because none of us want to see Ziggy getting his zig on. So we're going to talk about your characters. We've got like 10 minutes left or so. So I hope you've enjoyed this, people at home. By the way, huge thanks to, I think it's Xyloth. I saw it flash up, and some other people as well have been gift subbing like crazy. I want to say huge thank you from the Vagabonds. That really meant a lot. I'm really glad you enjoyed our episode today. I hope you did anyway, but thank you. So we're going to quickly wrap this up and then say our goodbyes. So talk me through it. Let's start with blue. You got 300 and you didn't get any experience last time.
I did not get any.
No, you did not.
Yes.
Okay, so that doesn't make sense.
Stella's already super.
I don't need
competent
your.
anyway.
Stella's an
Yeah.
elf. She's basically hardcore. Yeah.
Yeah.
As you see, it's not so easy to squeeze fate points out of all of you, so the fact you've only got one is fine. Did I out your fate points then? I'm apologising for that. Sorry about that, Blue, for outing your fate point. Yeah, so who's next? So I guess it's Ziggy
Should
first.
we do me? Because I sort of leveled
Ratty.
myself up.
Yeah, you powered up, sir.
Just to explain, so I have 350 XP. So I spent 100 on my last... Because what you have to do to level up, just to explain to people who need to learn the game. So when you have a career, it gives you a number of different ways to boost your stats. And you have to take all of them. And when you've done that, you can then go to the next level up. Do you have to take all the skills as well? I can't remember that one.
You ideally, yes. So you have to. You don't get the skills for free. You have to learn them, which means you either have to find a teacher, or in your case, you have to sort of practice or work it out, or you may actually need a teacher, which means that you won't go to level 2 until you do that. However, it doesn't stop you from learning other skills just by learning them. I mean, like the thing about this game.
Yeah, but I had all the apprentice skills anyway. But look, listen, just to keep it simple. So what I did is I had one last advancement to take for my apprentice, which was I boosted my dexterity by 10. So that was 100 points.
Yeah.
I then spent 100 points on basically leveling up.
Yeah.
So that just kind of goes into, and then the last 100 points I had, I spent on learning that spell, the stone spell.
Okay, cool. Nice.
So I've got 50 left, which I've still not used so I can still at some point maybe pick up one more petty magic spell or something like that.
All right, cool. Nice.
So that's how I've spent my XP.
Cool. Wicked.
I'm now a level 1 hedge wizard as opposed to a hedge wizard apprentice. And I've got a whole bunch of new advancements I can take and new skills I can learn, and I can now learn level 1 spells. So that stone spell was a level 1. So finally, Ratty might actually learn some more useful spells. So I'm very excited about that. Anyway, I'll pass it over to Jim. Maybe should we do Jim next?
Hello. Right. Okay. So the 350.
No. Yeah. Well, I had 350, but do you have? You might have 350 as well. I don't know.
The message I got was 350 anyway. But let's have a look.
Okay.
Did have a plan. It was a plan. It was much earlier in the day. Okay, so Strike Mighty Blow. We saw that one earlier.
Yeah.
It was a case of sufficiently angry. I tried something that Ziggy has been trying to train me to do, which is hit something really, really hard. Just put that extra bit of welly into it, and it paid off. I managed to not hit Ziggy, which is a really good start. Anyway, so that's Strike Mighty Blow in. That gives me the extra +1 to damage and things like that. So it's good.
Cool,
it's good. What else is there? Following on from the werewolves thing and finding the first MacIver magazine and the bomb manual.
Yeah.
I've been studying that. I would like to take the advancement to be able to make bombs.
Oh, fantastic! Because you know that's never going to go in your favour. Okay, good. So what you're going to do is do an intelligence test with the MacIver manual. I'm going to give you a +20. What's your intelligence?
My intelligence is, drum roll please, not as much as you'd think, 30.
Okay, +20 with the MacIver, because you've been studying it for quite a few days now, poring over its contents. So +20, that's a 50, so 50-50 chance. 50 or under you need to roll to learn, and you'll still spend the experience points even if you fail, but you've got a good chance. This is specialist weapon bombs you're trying to go for. Alright, do it. Bam. 44, nice. Okay, cool. So yes, you need to keep that manual with you. You'll have to refer to it for a good I'm going to say a good month of game time. So if you lose it, you'll lose the ability to use bombs at the moment until a month has passed, and then you'll have the skill forever. Is that fair? I think that sounds fair.
That seems reasonable.
So, specialist weapon bombs you now have, and may God have mercy on your comrades.
Yeah, that's definitely a recipe.
Because honestly, I think the cons outweigh the pros. But anyway, so you've now got specialist weapon bomb making and bombs. Cool. And you still have 100 left, don't you?
There was there's 350. So the first 100 was bombs, second 100 was strike mighty blow.
Yeah.
The third 100 will be a plus 10 to my ballistic skill, so I can actually throw the damn things.
Okay, cool. Cool. Okay, so the last 10 is for, and you got 50 left over for something else.
50 left over. I think you're taking a half advancement.
You know what? We talked about this. I'm not going to let you do that. I'm not going to let you do that. Only because I just kind of think it gets really complicated later on if we start doing stuff like that. So if you don't mind, we're going to do that. You'll save up for your 100 experience points. If that makes sense.
Yeah, you can't take half advanced.
Yeah, I think it's just going to get real complicated.
Petty magic half advanced.
That's different. The spells cost 50.
That's different. Spells cost 50. Petty magic spells cost 50 points to learn.
It is a bit different. Yeah. I kind of understood what you were getting at. I just think it's too complicated, dude. That's cool.
It is.
Alrighty, cool. Zigmund, Zig boy. What's going on, Zig dog? Zaydog? Sorry. Hello.
Is he there?
I think he's gone. He's just gone. Fuck it.
Oh, no, sorry. I thought I was muted. I unmuted myself, but actually I was muted. So I muted myself. Sorry about that, guys.
That's right.
No, I was just saying I'm going to break your heart. I'm going to become a freelance.
Fuck me, really?
Yeah. So I have spent 100 XP on increasing my ballistic skill.
Bloody hell. Are you a freelancer now?
Yeah, and then I took the extra wound I was talking about, and I've spent 100 XP to go to a freelance. So I'm
fucking hell.
I'm looking for lances.
Why, Neil? Why are you so?
A freelance is basically a knight looking for war in all the wrong places. He's a knight for hire.
Right.
And this actually works because I'm quite a stickler for making careers and changes be narrative drawn, right? But here's the thing: Ziggy has been a squire for quite some time, and the fact that he's learned a lot, he's been in all these hardcore battles with you lot, and has done like cavalry charges and all this kind of stuff. It's completely legitimate, I feel, to become a freelancer. He's basically like a knight for hire, kind of like Lancelot. That's where he's at. So he's basically like a Lancelot type-esque character.
Their advanced scheme is sick.
It's disgusting, actually. I may have to kill him quickly. I may have to take your fate points quicker than you can do this, because you're going to become quite a demon.
So you see Ziggy doing a lot of push-ups. He's eating a lot of eggs, a lot of protein in his diet. Yeah, he's been watching YouTube videos about how to do calisthenics.
I'm so going to give you an STD. I'm just going to it's going to be crippling STD for your character.
Crotch rot.
Rot.
I think it's very anyway. I'm not going to foreshadow what might happen in future episodes, but I think it's very unlikely. Anyway, good. Yeah, so that's what I'm doing. That's what my 300. So I've got 50 in the bank.
Nice. All right. Fucking hell, the first advanced career amongst you lot as well.
Well, level 1 wizard.
Level 1 wizard is also, it's also an advanced career technically, but still, the freelance is pretty fucking heavy, dude. Wowzers.
Yeah.
Alright, and then Blue, I'm going to give you 100 experience points, Blue, for this whole thing, because I think that's fair, actually.
I think she should get much more than that. She has done more cool things in one episode than the rest
I'm giving it to her for the cool shot.
7 months or whatever.
Yeah, I'm giving it to her for the cool shot. That's a cool shot, 100 experience points. So you get to increase an advancement of your advanced profile of your outlaw career, which is +1 or +10, I believe. So anything that you haven't taken, just let me know. You can do it now, you can do it later. So you have a think about it, that's fine.
I'll have to think about it, I'll have to look at the...
Okay, cool. And by the way, folks, if there's a skill you want to learn from each other, you can always do that, as Bondo did. And if there's skills that you want to learn from other teachers, or if there's stuff you want to try out that is feasible, you could spend a few weeks trying it yourself, that's also acceptable. You can totally do that. So don't feel like you're tied down to the career that you are. Cool. I think that's about it, isn't it, folks?
Yeah.
Nice one. Thank you, Jim, for making the beautiful river, by the way.
Yeah, that river is now... It looks like a river.
It looks amazing.
Yeah.
It's like a game.
I'm going to try and make sure that I can do things this side of the table so I don't have to destroy the village, because it's so beautiful, man. So very nice, very nice. The hit of the season 26 was from Pete. I think I can delete that, right? I'll do it next time, it's fine. So just want to say a huge thank you to the mods, to Yogo and to Shannon and to, I'm not sure who else is on at the moment, to Hidden and to Ingle and everybody else in the Discord mods as well for running such a great orderly ship. And for all your help. Thank you so much. Huge thank you to the community. I think Xyloff did a huge donation. Thank you very much indeed. That was quite overwhelming. And everybody that's been gift subbing as well. I'm sorry I can't look at the chat whilst we're role playing because obviously I'm focused on this. But thank you so much for supporting us. And we are trying to put a lot of this money back into the stream itself with the Vagabonds issues and other things that Tom alluded to very mysteriously at the beginning.
We are working on lots of different bits and pieces, some new fun bits of merch, some like I said, some new things, some new doohickeys. So basically, stay tuned, and we'll be able to tell you about them soon.
Cool.
Definitely next month is when we're going to start getting them together.
Indeed.
So,
but yeah, we hope you've had fun. We definitely have. That was an awesome episode.
Yeah, it was really fun.
That was really great. Yeah. So without further ado, whose turn is it? I guess Dr. Steve coming back and jumping inside the rotting corpse of Manticore. It's your turn to flip the
I don't like
table.
flipping the table. I don't like it. It makes me scared.
Nah, you like it. You're right.
And just remember, kids, don't pinch any babies' noses.
Thank you for that disclaimer. Oh!
Lulled you into a false sense of security.
And you flipped it, you motherfucker. All right. Much love, everybody. See you next time on the table. Bye.
Bye.